Hello, 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 hello. Welcome all my lovely goblins and ghouls of the internet. I'm Hanyo. 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 Yes, Hanyo. I am Hanyo, your Demon Cinephile. And tonight, if you could not guess from the title, we are. What the heck? What the heck? What is this? What is this? Alright, we can fix this. What the heck is it? What happened? Okay, this is weird. Normally I have to check these kind of things. Let me try this. Okay, there we go. Not sure why that happened. Okay, now I went away. Now I went away, chat. Oh goodness. Okay, there we go. That should be a lot better. Move myself a little bit up here. Up. And let me make sure audio's good. Desktop is good. Okay. Let's just jump into it because I think we're about halfway done through this chapter. This is one of the shortest ones for Higurashi. But last time we were here, Akasaka had that epic Mahjong battle with Oshi and his police buddies. And then you met with an informant, probably a member of the Sonasakis. And they told him basically that they already know he's here. They already know that he's a police officer or somebody from or whatever Akasaka's true is supposed to be. And that Rika, when she was just there, like in the Sanazaki, like the family group meeting thing, that Rika, who was a little girl in this timeline, was taking a very big interest in him. So, yeah, things are about to get really creepy. Let's just jump in. Chapter 1, Chapter 2. Well, I played this 3 times. I was thinking, what did I name the stream then? Did I name this number 4 or 3? Number 3. Doesn't feel right now. That doesn't feel right. Hold on a second, guys. I need to correct. I need to check a mistake. This is gonna bug me if I don't do it right now. Because my brain will forget right away. No, it's right, number 3. Huh. Then, what did I do? Let me check over here. Sorry, taking this long break. I know if I don't do it now, I'm not going to do it later. No, this is it. Oh, let me down export these 2 things. Alright, download this. Alright, and we are good as golden. So let's load this up and start the story. we viewed the tips, right? Normally I always do. Yep, we did all these. Continue. Alright, let's get back to Akasaka. I'm gonna flip on my phone. I use my phone for it to see you guys. Over here. No, I can fit. But useless. In the way. Should charge it up, so I had to deal with the cord. Alright, you go over here. Stay. Be a good boy. I had a restless night's sleep. I did nothing but turn over repeatedly during a night that seemed like it lasted for an eternity. Even then, I eventually fell asleep at some point, not realizing how high in the sky the sun had risen. I shook off the urge to go back to sleep. It was then I noticed that the phone was ringing. The time was almost 10:30 in the morning. It was clearly too late for a wake-up call.
Akasaka-san desu ka?
Oh, God, it's Oshi.
Ohayou gozaimasu, Oishi desu.
Good morning, Akasaka-san. Waking up to the sound of Oshi's voice was a little too much of a shock. My delicate ears were ringing. But thanks to that shock, I was suddenly wide awake.
Domo.
Hello.
Ohayou gozaimasu.
Good morning.
Hyotoshite,
Could
ima
it
o mezame
be
desu
you
ka?
just woke up?
出張中
Even
と
though
はいえ、
your
勤務時間に
assignment
は起きないといけ
is
ませ
still
ん
not
よ。
good to be asleep during regular business hours.
まったくです。
You're absolutely right. Hello, Cogs! How are you doing tonight?
Igo, 気をつけます。
I'll be more careful in the future. Ah, yeah, that's amazing. I watched it like a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, Evil Dead 2 makes everything better. What was I watching? I was watching a little bit of the new Goosebumps show on Disney Plus and Hulu. It's not that bad, but it's nothing special either. I watched the first two episodes of Chucky on season 3. A lot better than season 2 so far. I love brutal Chucky. I can't take it when he's mostly used for comedy.
あなたの眠気をもう一つ覚ましてあげられるかもしれない話があります。
I have another tidbit that might wake you up even more.
ひなみ沢駐在所から届
There
いた
was
遺失物
something
に
interesting mixed in
興
with
味
the
深いもの
lost
が
and
混じっていたん
found
です。
at the Hinamizawa police box. Hellraiser later? Yes. Which one? We got... Oh, presuming... Because most of the... Yeah, all the sequels after 4 are hot garbage. 3 and 4 are okay. They're fun, but nothing... They're not that good, really. At least I don't think so. The first... Yeah, I'd say the first. The first 2 and the reboot that came out this year, I think are the best movies. I think 3 is the most fun because it has that weird, the 80s feel to it, but it's not that scary. Yeah, it does, especially the practical effects. The practical effects and how they use sexuality so well. It just very visual. Just it's nasty and it's just uncomfortable. It's just so uncomfortable to be around. I think that's the best way to explain Hellraiser.
遺失物
Lost and found?
詳しい話はこちらにいらっしゃってか
Let's
らにし
leave
ま
the
しょう。
details for when you get here.
お昼前に来れま
You
すか？
think you'll be able to make it before noon?
いえ
No, no.
すぐに伺います
I'll be there right away. Oh, she already knew what my mission was. Since she said it was something that would wake me up. It was hard to believe that it would be irrelevant to me. Honestly speaking, judging by the information from Sato-san yesterday, knowing that my cover was already blown, I couldn't wander to him and from. I couldn't wander to and from Hinamizawa carelessly. In other words, my investigation was at an impasse. If there was some information there that could put me back on the trail, that would be nothing less than a stroke of good fortune. After vigorously washing my face, I put on my jacket and hailed a taxi, heading towards the Okiyamiya police station.
おお、来た来た。
Oh, you're here.
天才ジャンシ様の
The
到着だ。
genius Monhog player has arrived.
遅くなって申し訳ありません
My apologies for being late.
で
So,
一体何が出たんですか
what exactly popped up? With absolutely no intention of reminiscing about last night's Maha game, I pressed him to get to the point. Oh, she, anticipating what I would act that way, cut to the chase without any resistance.
先ほども申し上げましたが、
Like I said earlier,
今朝ひなみ沢
something
の駐在
arrived
所か
from
ら
the
遺失物が
Hinamizawa
届
police
きま
box,
した
lost and found this morning. Lost items that were turned over to the police box were sent to Okimiya Station after the paperwork was filled out. Oh, she pulled out a plastic bag from a drawer and laid its labeled contents on the desk.
財布
Is
Disco.
that a wallet?
でしょうな。
Indeed.
中には小銭は
There
あって
was
も
a
お札はなか
small
ったもんなん
change
で、
inside, but no bills.
スリが中身を抜
We
いた後
thought
に捨
that
て
the
てったのか
pickpocket
な
threw it
と
away
思
after
ったん
pulling
です
out
が
the
ね。
contents.
最初は。
At first, I didn't understand how this wallet, so far removed from Tokyo, could possibly be related to the kidnapping. If it had drawn Oshi's attention, it would have to be something dramatic, like if the wallet belonged to the missing grandchild. That would be absurd. Like something that convenient would happen. If that's what it is, then there were probably initials written on the wallet. Like the initials of Toshiki Yunakai, the minister's grandson, T.I. Thinking like that, at this point I didn't suppose that this wallet was something that could get Oshi so excited. Oshi, after putting on a pair of disposable plastic gloves, handed me a pair at the same time. I didn't feel that this wallet was such an important thing, so I had my doubts about whether there was any point in putting on gloves. However, I didn't want Oshi's attentions to go to waste, so I put them on. Oshi opened up the plastic bag and pulled it out, showing me the back. As I imagined, there were initials engraved there. But it was slightly more detailed than what I thought, with Toshiki I marked on it. Oh, she grinned at me with a look on his face that said, "See? We can't confirm that this belongs to the minister's grandson," I informed him calmly. This wallet was irrelevant. It was nothing more than Oshi's over-eagerness. First of all, there was absolutely no way in this distinct locale that the missing grandson's wallet would be found with such convenient timing. After all, the Onifugabushi Guardians wasn't related to the case in the first place, so there was no way this wallet belonged to the grandson. Why I wanted to decide that was the case, even I didn't really know. Even though what should have been a top secret case was leaked before I had even been dispatched. In this situation, how could I say this was definitely unrelated? Would it be more imprudent to pay more attention to this wallet? It had been only a couple of days since I arrived in Hinamizawa, but in those couple of days, due to the number of remarkable events, my nerves might have become just a little frayed. Shaking my head slightly, I cleared it of unnecessary thoughts. Oh, she opened the wallet zipper, revealing the contents. Inside was a small change, and a number of crumpled receipts. Oh, she, from that jumbo, pulled out a folded card. Seeing that, my heart stopped for a moment. It was a card from a dental examination. The name, Toshiki Inukai, and the age. A perfect match. The dentist's location was in Tokyo. There's no need to explain any further. How far was it from Tokyo to Hinamizawa? It was far enough that taking the bullet train and cars would take several hours. Why would a wallet with a dental examination card from Tokyo inside show up in Hinamizawa? Could it belong to a tourist who came from Tokyo? Or maybe a villager on vacation to Tokyo just happened to pay a visit to the dentist? No, it had to fall into somebody's bag by accident. In my mind, I desperately struggled to find a possible excuse as to why this wallet didn't belong to Toshiki Inakai. It was as if it just wouldn't do for this wallet to belong to him. However, weeding out any possibility for error one by one, the haze surrounding the wallet in front of me faded. Gradually, letting it come into clear focus. See? I felt a shiver of electricity running up my spine. My pulse quickened, and a thin film of sweat began to coat my entire body. From Oshi's point of view, I was probably slack-jawed and spaced out, with a slovenly look on my face.
この歯科には問い合わせましたか?
Did you get the information from the dental office?
そりゃ赤坂さんの
That's
仕
your
事でしょ。
job, Akasaka-san.
私はまだそこまでは。
I didn't go that far.
この財布はいつ頃のものでしょうね?
When did this wallet show up?
拾ったのは村人です。
The person who picked it up was a villager.
昨日のことだそ
They
うで。
did so yesterday, it seems.
じゃなくて、この財布はいつ頃落ちたものでしょうね?
When was this wallet dropped?
ここいらに雨があったのはちょうど先週
Exactly
7日前。
7 days ago.
中身が水にやられた様子はないか
The
ら
contents are
最長
water
で
damage.
6日前からでしょ
So
うね
the。longest it could have been was probably 6 days.
この財布の存在は
Just
署内で
anyone else
誰が
at
知っ
the
てます?
station had knowledge of the existence of this wallet.
初期対応の日並沢
The
駐在所
officer
の
who
警
first
官、
encountered it at the Hinamizawa police box.
それから遺失物対応で
And
係が
also
2、
the
3
2
人。
or 3 people in charge of the lost and found box.
あとは私とあな
Other than
た。
that, it's just me and you.
内緒の事件と関係があっ
It
たら
was
まずいで
involved
し
in
ょ
that classified case. It'd be bad to talk about, wouldn't it?
ベラベラとは喋ってないつもり
I
ですよ。
don't intend to wag my tongue.
電話を借りていいですか?
May I borrow your phone?
どうぞどうぞ。
Go ahead, go ahead.
外線はゼロ発信から。
Dial 0 to get outside line. I dialed the number inscribed on the examination card. I could hear my pulse pounding in my head. Could there possibly be another something so absurd? The address on the receipts and cards inside the wallet were all from the area around where the grandson lived. The name on the examination card was also a match. The time we deducted that the wallet had been left outside also matched up with the timeline of the kidnapping. Of course, it was possible. I could just laugh it all off as a big pile of coincidences. There wasn't any strong evidence. Rather than all this circumstantial proof, the contents of the phone call I was about to make would have a much greater meaning.
はい、お待たせしました。
Hello, sorry to keep you waiting.
中川歯科です。
This is Nakagawa Dental Office.
どうも。
Hello,
こちらは沖
this
宮
is
署です。
Okimiya Police Department.
実はお
I
財
have
布
a
の落とし
misplaced
物があ
wallet
りまして、
here. I'm trying to get
所有者の
in
連絡先
contact
を
with
探してお
the
ります。
owner.
ご協力をいただいても
Will you be able to
よろ
help
しい
me?
でしょうか。お財布の中にそちら様の診察カードが
Inside the
入っており
wallet,
まして、
there was an examination card from your office.
ええ、
Yes.
氏名は
The name is
犬飼俊樹くんです。
Inukai Toshiki.
カードの番号を申し上げますので、
If I give you the number
電話
on the
番号をお
card,
調べいた
will
だい
you
て
be
も
able
よろ
to
しい
look
でしょ
up
う
the
か。
phone number?
ええ、
Yes.
ありがとう
Thank
ござい
you.
ます。お願いできますか。
If you could. Still holding receiver, I pulled out a notebook from my breast pocket with my free hand. I opened it up to the page with the grandson's address and phone number recorded on it.
どうもすみません。
Yes. Hello?
はい。お願いします。
Go ahead. I compared the phone number written in my notebook to the one that was being read on the other end of the line. During the process, I spun around to look behind me uneasily. I locked eyes with Ooshi. Ooshi looked puzzled, wondering what the matter was. Why would I feel uneasy and look behind me? That was because the person on the other end of the line was reading out the numbers as though doing so straight from the notebook. He was feeling like someone's watching him. I seen that HQ was in quite an uproar thanks to my report. No matter how many times the authenticity of the evidence I had linked to the grandson was called into question, I could only respond that it was the truth. When the lead investigator first picked up the phone, I was thrilled about the evidence I found that was alone too good to be true, if I do say so myself. Right after doubt dispelled, he fell into silence. The receiver was finally handed over to the section chief. When he picked it up, the background thrum on the other end. On the other end of the line disappeared, and I knew that it had gone completely silent. After asking the same questions about the wallet that the lead investigator did, the chief quietly spoke his next words.
わかりました。
Got it.
こちらから何人
Well,
か
the
増
special
援を
people
送り
as
ます。
reinforcements.
今日の夕方には到着で
They
きる
should
で
be
しょ
able
う。
to make it there by evening.
赤坂君は引き続
Please
き
continue
現地
with your
調査をお
investigation
願
of
い
the
します
area.
財布が発見された地域の情報を収集しててください。加納さんは何人か選んで
Kano-san will select
現
some
地へ
people
直接
head directly there. Ooh, what's this beat? Meditation. The fact that he was sending Kano, the lead investigator here, meant that the chief had decided there was a possibility that the only Fukushi guardians were somehow implicit in the kidnapping. However, it felt as though until the lead investigator, whom he trusted had verified the evidence with his own eyes, he was still going to be skeptical about it.
どうでした？
本庁から増援が出発するそうです。私は
I
現地
was
調査を
ordered to
命じられ
investigate
ま
the
し
area.
た。財布の落ちていた場
Where
所は
was
ど
the
こなんです
wallet dropped?
高津戸のあたりだ
Around
そうです。
Takuzo. Apparently.
ここが沖
This is
宮。
Okiyamiya.
ずーっと
All
行
the
って
way over
ここ
here.
がひなみ沢
This is Hinamizawa.
でさらに上流にぐーっと上がっていくとこの辺が高津戸です。
Then even further upstream, right up there is Takasudo. Oh, she's playing where the wallet was found by pointing to locations on the map on the wall. This place called Takasudo was even more remote than Hinamizawa was.
高津戸界隈はほとんど民家なん
There's
かあり
hardly
ません
anybody
よ。
living in the area around Takasudo.
昔の
It
廃
was
村です。
deserted a long time ago.
無人の家屋が点在
It's
する
littered with abandoned
な
houses.
んとも寂しいあたりで
So
す
it's really
ね。
quiet and desolate up there. Around there.
大石さん、
Oshi-san,
高津戸へ案内してもらうことは
can
で
I
きます
ask
か？
you to guide me to Takasudo?
構いませんよ。
Yeah, I don't mind.
赤坂さんお一人で
You can
は
really get in and
なかなか自由にひなみ沢に出入りは
Hinamizawa,
で
she
きないで
please
しょ
by
うから
yourself
ね。
after all.
無論
Of course.
また
I'll
野
have
球
to
帽
make
と
you
マスクを
wear
して
the
もらうこと
cape
になり
and
ますが
mask, cap and mask again. That oh, she agreed to accompany me was very reassuring. If Sato-san's info was to believe, my cover had been blown. I wasn't sure the villagers had realized that the fresh meat dispatched from public safety was the tourists that had visited the village yesterday. In other words, me. But deciding that they hadn't noticed would have been overly optimistic. Given a curious thought, Takasudo, where the wallet was found, couldn't be ruled out as a hiding spot for the kidnappers. The Takasudo area didn't have any residential buildings, nor was it alongside a highway. There wasn't a reason for even the locals to go out their way to visit it. It was exactly what you would call a long-forgotten ghost town, at the end of the road. You couldn't ask for a better place to hold a kidnapped grandson. Also, you couldn't get to Takasudo without passing through Hinamizawa first. Those several conditions made the area all the while more important. I could brush it off no longer. There was no longer any doubt that the only Fukushi guardians, or somebody hired by them, were involved in the kidnapping. If that was the case, and the fact that this wallet was found might have already been leaked to them. They even knew so much as how the Public Safety Division was operating. The case of the wallet couldn't be something they didn't know. In that case, there was a possibility that the enemy was lying in wait to dive alone into the enemy territory. Dive alone into enemy territory, surrounded by enemy territory. Wait, to dive? I messed the whole thing up. To dive alone into enemy territory, surrounded by enemy territory, to say the least, required an amount of courage, nay, recklessness, that I just didn't have.
大石さんの同行がなければ、
Without your
そうお
company,
いそれと踏み込めない
Oshi-san,
村でしたので、
I wouldn't be able to step into the village so easily.
ご協力いただけて本当に助かりました。
Thank you very much for your cooperation.
正直なところ、またお
Honestly,
金を要求され
I
るので
thought
はと
you
思
had
ってま
asked
した
for
よ。
more money.
それは正
Well,
直を言え
if
ば
we're being honest,
ひなみ沢なんか
Hinamizawa
すく好んで
isn't
きた
exactly
が
a
ない
place
で
I
す
like
か
to
ら
go.
ね。運賃でも弾んでもらいたい気分ですが、
At least it'd at least appreciate if you'd pay for the cab fare.
でも
Still,
一緒に
it's
タ
not
コ
a
を囲ん
request
だ
I
友
can
人の
refuse from
頼
a
みとあれ
friend
ば
that's played at
断る
the
わ
same
けには
table
いき
as
ませ
me.
んしね
Oh. Oh, she grinned as he pounded me on the back. It struck me that he just didn't want to jump ship rather than having any sort of sense of duty towards his job. Even so, that didn't really matter. Right now, I really appreciate the gesture.
では
Well
早
then,
速出してもらえますか
shall we hurry up and get going? If the enemy knew that the police had obtained the wallet, then they would probably have moved the hostage to a different place. There wasn't a moment to lose. But Oshi, without regard to the fact that we were about to head out, began to remove his jacket.
何をしてるんですか
What are you doing?
まあ用心です
Well,
よ
just a precaution.
家中の栗を拾う
If
なら
you want to
相応の
me
用意が
to
必要
poke
と思い
the
ましてね
beehive to get your honey, I have to be rather well prepared, you see.
あなたも来ます
Do you want to put one on too? The Oshi pulled out from the drawer below the desk was a stab-proof vest. You put it on? Do you take one? His name, Toshiki Inukai, the grandson of the Minister of Construction, Inukai. There was only one reason for him being here. If you didn't include gym or art class, his grades were above average. Elders saw having private tutor sessions twice a week. If you omitted the fact that he still couldn't do pull-ups, there wasn't much else that would make him hate school. Of course, he understood full well that his grandfather was a cabinet minister. But he also knew that not too many people were that interested in their relationship. He didn't like to go out of his way to bring up his grandfather, or call him the Minister of Construction. And finally, he at least tried to know a little more about what kind of work the Minister of Construction did than your average show. What that entailed was that when you try your best to make life better for the masses, sometimes you make a few enemies. He knew that all too well from the time he spent as class representative. His grandfather had many enemies. He knew that he might personally catch some of that fallout, but he had to be twice as cautious. He was taught that by his parents. That's why, the moment he was kidnapped, he instantly knew that this was one of those occasions. He understood that he was being treated as Toishiki Inukai, but rather as Toishiki Inukai, the grandson of the Minister of Construction. That he wasn't personally at fault, but that this was the result of some unavoidable trouble with his grandfather's work. It made a little difference, but when he realized it wasn't because of anything he did, he was able to relax, if only a little. Of course, at first, he was struck with terror, befitting his age, wondering what was going to happen to him. But after a while of being tied up and only able to stay lying down, he began to ponder a great many things. First, he thought about the reason he was being abducted like this. But he understood the answer to that easily. He was taken hostage to conceal his grandfather, the minister. There was no doubt about that. He didn't know exactly what the Minister of Construction did, but it was easy to imagine that there was much to be gained from threatening him. He respected his grandfather, more than most. He earnestly believed that his own grandfather was within the 20 of the most important people in Japan. That was exactly why he wouldn't forgive anybody who tried to threaten his beloved grandfather. More importantly, he wouldn't forgive anybody who used him as a tool to threaten his grandfather. His grandfather was really busy and rarely had time to meet with relatives. That's why, with what little time he did manage to scrap together, he just dropped by and announced. And as an apology for not being able to meet during New Year's or summer vacations, he doted on his grandson very, very much. The number of times that Trishiki was looked upon with disregard just because his grandfather was a politician and a minister certainly weren't few. But he never thought even once that he wanted his grandfather to quit being a politician. Because it was his beloved grandfather, he wanted him to continue his career as long as possible from the bottom of his heart. However, Toishiki was now being held hostage, and his grandfather was being threatened. His grandfather, who called him the apple of his eye, was surely suffering. He might do anything to save his grandson. Maybe even putting aside his ideology, if it was required to save his grandson. He might cave into the culprit's demands, if it meant saving his grandson. When Toishiki thought about that, an inexplicable anger welled up within him. In his current situation, he was unable to forgive the cowards who would make his beloved grandfather suffer by using such dastardly means. That feeling swelled up inside of him, displacing the fear. What he thought of first was something any boy would imagine. Get out of these bonds, beat up the bad guys, then hand them over to the police. Images of all the brave heroes from all the manga he had read passed through the back of his mind. In his imaginary scenario, he slipped his bonds easily, floating like a butterfly to evade his captors, then stinging like a bee to beat them all down. In the end, it was nothing more than a silly little fantasy. But his vision, obstructed and unable to see anything, it was something that he could get into more than any anime at the moment. In actuality, he was enjoying these little scenarios in his head. For a long period of time he was tied up. His captors hadn't really done anything to him that they would feel sorry for. However, eventually, he began to grow tired of his fantasies, and more realistic scenarios began running through his head. It was then he realized that none of them were a solution. Yes, he wanted to do something for his grandfather, who was being threatened. That he was being held here to inflict pain on his grandfather was the thing that he could at least forgive, and also the most vexing. And then he noticed. There was a much simpler way he could save his grandfather without having to beat up his despicable captors. That was to remove himself as a hostage from the hands of these villains. If he was to disappear from here, his captors would have nothing to threaten his grandfather with. The captors had restrained him, but they didn't treat him roughly, and they made sure he was well fed enough. Meaning, at most, he was nothing more than the means for their threat. They weren't looking to bully or kill him out of spite. If he behaved, no ill will would befall him. realizing that gave him a strong sense of courage. And carrying his train of thought this far, he let it run run its course to his natural conclusion. Ooh, the music changed. Right now, at this moment, Toishiki Inukai had decided to escape. His ears had been stuffed with sponge-like material, acting as makeshift earplugs. However, they didn't actually do much to block any out. However, they didn't actually do much to block out any sound, and he could overhear everything his captors were saying. Realizing that this was to his advantage, even when his captors spoke to him, he acted like he couldn't hear them due to the earplugs. His captors, thinking that he could hear their conversation, talked about all sorts of things without any reservation. Thanks to that, he was able to obtain various pieces of information. First off, this wasn't Tokyo. It seemed that this was quite a distance away, and on top of that, in the countryside, nestled deep in the mountains. It also seemed that his captors were inconvenienced living out here, so he could deduce that this place was far removed from any sort of town. Finally, whenever they went out to buy food or other supplies, they would always take a car. That fact alone caused him some dismay, because he knew that the method he learned at school of running around blindly while shouting for help wouldn't work here. He paused his little mental escape scenario there. His ultimate goal was to find somebody who would help him. If somebody who fit that description wasn't close by, his chance of escaping successfully grew slim. A desolate, far-off land deep in the mountains. A place where you couldn't even go shopping without using a car. In this situation, escaping would be very difficult. He grew depressed, and after a little while, he returned to his original scenario. Imagining becoming a hero like the manga he read and beating down his captors became his respite. However, as he played those illusions out in his head, his heart hating to surrender, continued to search for a way to escape. And then he thought of a way. If the goal was far away, then all he had to do was get closer. His goal, in a nutshell, was to find somebody who would help him. In other words, somebody other than his captors. If he faked being sick, then his captors would have to take him to the hospital or bring a doctor to him. They would probably be reluctant to do that, but he already knew that the hostage was more important than anything. If the off chance that something happened, like him dying, occurred, they wouldn't be able to threaten anybody anymore. Luckily, he had experience that would help him fake a serious illness. At the end of last year, he was inadvertently involved in a car accident and had to undergo surgery. Scars from the surgery were still clearly visible on his lower torso. He recalled the pain and suffering from that time. The existence of that experience would make a huge impact on the realism of his performance. He was quite confident in his ability to fake an illness. Being pulled off, kid? His captors at first took that as a sign he needed to use the washroom. Untying only his arms, they tried to bring him there while he was still blindfolded. But he didn't try to get up. His hands were now free, only clutching at his abdomen as he writhed in agony.
おい、どうしたんだ
Hey, what's wrong?
腹でも痛いのか
Does your stomach hurt? He still had his earplugs in, so he had pretended he didn't hear his captors asking the question. He was about to nod, so he hurriedly had to stop himself.
どったんね
What's the matter?
小僧が腹を
He was
押さえてる
clutching
よ
at his stomach.
腹痛か
Must be
な
a stomachache or something. His captors looked down on his suffering from a bit. One of them proposed a course of action, while another laid his doubts that Toshiki might be faking it.
どったんね
What's,
坊主
what's wrong, boy?
腹痛むん
Your
かい
tummy hurt?
そいつ耳を塞いでるから聞こえてないぜ
参ったんな
Well, yes, that's a problem.
腹痛に効く
You
薬な
get
んかあら
medicine
んで
that works or on stomach pain?
薬局行って買ってくる
Might
か
want to go to the pharmacy and buy some.
腹痛って言ったってい
When
ろ
it
んな
comes to
薬があ
stomach
るだろ
pain, there's a bunch of different meds, isn't there?
症状がわか
As
らないう
long as
ち
we don't know
は
the
いい加減な
cause,
薬
you
は
shouldn't
買えない
just
ぜ
buy any old medicine.
腹押さえてるし
He is old.
便秘
He's
やん
old and his stomach maybe is just constipated.
便秘
If
薬で
you
も買ってくれ
buy
ば収ま
some
るやんね
medicine for that, maybe it'll calm him down.
間違って飲んでも知
It
らんし
won't
な
kill him if you were wrong either.
決めつけるなよ
Don't decide something like that on your own.
盲腸とかかもしれないだろ
It might be some penance or something.
う俺のお
My
じさん
uncle
がさ
suddenly died a while ago.
昔あれはかなりビビったぜ
It was pretty scary. One of the captors leaned over beside the boy who was bent over in agony.
かわいそうにな
I feel sorry for the kid.
全身汗
Whoa,
だら
his
けじゃ
whole
ないか
body's
よ
covered in sweat.
腹か
Is it your stomach?
痛むのか
Does it hurt?
おい
Hey,
おい
hey.
痛
If
む
it
のがあ
hurts,
ん
you
まり
shouldn't
抑え込
clutch
ん
it
じ
so
ゃかえっ
tightly.
て悪い
It'll
ぞ
make it worse. Realizing his captors were concerned about his stomach, he inadvertently let his shirt ride up, letting the scar from his surgery come into plain view. His vision was still obscured with packing tape, so he couldn't see their reactions to his scar. But his captors were taken aback, and judging from their momentary silence, he obtained the reaction he was looking for. This kid's smart!
おいやばいぜ
Hey, this is bad.
この手術跡
The
そ
scar
んなに昔
It's
のも
not
のじゃ
that
ないぜ
old.
その小僧
Does the boy
熱
have
出
a
てるんか
fever?
いね体温計あるん
There's a thermometer around.
あるわけねえ
No
よ
way we have one.
でもすごい
That's
汗だぜ
a lot of sweat.
うん
Yeah, his forehead
お
feels
で
pretty
こは結
hot.
構熱いと思う緊張状態が
I
続くと
heard,
さ
I heard that
昔の
prolonged,
傷
under
なんか
prolonged
に応え
stress,
たりする
all
って
wounds
聞い
can
た
be
ことあるぜ
agitated.
じゃあどうすんよ
Then what do we do?
薬じゃ治ら
Are
ん
you
ちゅうんて
saying
ん
the
か
medicine won't work?
何の手術
We
跡か
don't
知ら
know
ねえけ
what
ど
surgery the scar was from.
とにかく
But in
ま
any
ずいだ
case,
ろ
this is bad.
下手すると
In the worst
命に
case,
関わるぜ
it could be fatal.
まずいんて
It's bad.
これは
It's
本当にまずいん
really,
て
really bad.
医者に見せた方がいい
Maybe we should have a doctor take a look at it.
このままじゃ
As
突
this
然
rate,
ぽっくりいっちまう
there's
可
a
能性だっ
chance
てあ
that
るだ
he
ろ
might suddenly die on us. So Ishiki Nakai, with those few words, knew that the situation was progressing exactly as he envisioned it, and snickering to himself on the inside, pressed his act even further. He didn't even need to know that his captors were panicked and were running around like chickens with their heads cut off at this troublesome turn of events.
診療所連れて行くか
Should we take him to a clinic?
Mm.
No, that's
そりゃまずん
no good.
先生を連れてくる方がいい
Probably
ね
better if that doctor came here.
入江の先生か
Dr. Erie, you mean?
いいのか
Is that okay?
大丈夫か
Will that be alright?
人質に何かあったら
It'd
ま
be
ずい
worse if
ね
anything happens to the hostage.
しゃあない緊急
There's
事
nothing
態
we
や
can do. It's an emergency. One of the captors hurriedly left in the car. Another of the men, completely shaken at this point, wiped the sweat from his forehead with a handkerchief. It looked like they were bringing a doctor. As long as the doctor was an accomplice, that doctor was his goal. He was someone he should seek help from. His captors were probably worried of that happening. They would be prepared for it. This would all come down to luck. Some of the sweat merging from his brow was from that nervousness. At that moment, the packing tape that was covering his eyes and ears were torn off. The burning light he was seeing for the first time in several days hurt his eyes. After that, the gag that made it hard for him to breathe was also removed.
大丈夫か小僧。
Are you alright, kid?
今お医
We'll
者を
bring
連れ
a
てくるから
doctor
な。
to you right now.
しばらく我慢
Hold
してろ
on
な
for a。bit. Come on, keep it up. Keep up the act. Keep up the act. The doctor was coming. The doctor was coming. Now, how was he going to ask for help? How is he going to get away from his captors? And a plethora of thoughts began swirling in his mind.
分かってると思うが。
I think you know this already.
お医者に余計
But
な
don't
ことは
say
言うな
anything
よ。
necessary to the doctor.
俺たちも別に
We
お
don't
前
want to
に
hurt
乱暴が
you
したいわけじゃないんだ。
or anything.
そりゃ分か
You
ってるよ
understand
な。
that, right? Oh, they're coming their tracks. Choishiki Inukai nodded while feigning pain and obedience. His expectations and the enemy's expectations. Whether they doubted he was faking his illness or not, they knew what his goal was and would try to stop it. His stomach contracted from the stress of this gambit, making it seem like his stomach really was starting to hurt. No, it really was. But there was no reason to panic. If he failed with his approach to the doctor, there was nothing to lose. There was something to lose. It was this method of faking illness to get in touch with a doctor. If you could think of another method from here on out, it wasn't much. But at the present, this was the easiest and most dramatic way he could think of. The more he thought about it, the more it looked like this was the first and last gambit. Eventually, he heard the sound of a car approaching once again. The sound of the car doors open, being hurriedly open and shut. The sounds of several footsteps approaching. Dr. Irie! What are you doing here with all of these shady people? I thought you were a good doctor. I thought you were the good doctor. A young man in a white medical coat. As he acknowledged the boy, a suspicious look showed itself on his face.
彼は
Who's he?
村の子じゃありませんね。
He's not one of the kids from the village, is he? The captors didn't respond. From the looks of it, the young doctor had realized that this was a normal situation. When the captors talked threateningly,
先生には関
that's
係
got
のないこ
nothing
と
to
で
do
す
with you, Doc. For a while, the doctor and the captor silently glared at one another. However, unable to stand the sight of the boy continuing to suffer, the doctor, as the captors had hoped, didn't press any further.
その古い手術跡というのが
I'm
気になります。
concerned about this old surgical scar.
何の手術でしたか？
What kind of operation was it?
それはわからないです。
We don't know.
本当は診療
I
所に
really
連れ
should
帰
bring
る
him
べ
to
き
the
なんですね。
clinic.
先生、
Doc,
そりゃさす
we
がにちょっ
really
と。
can't. We really can. Really can't. We really can't really do that. The doctor said you're going to bring the boy back to the clinic, but the captors simply silently shook their heads at the notion. It was a fleeting hope, but it was only natural that the captors would refuse. At that moment, he met eyes with the doctors. Seeing that the boy's painful state was abnormal, the doctor suspected it was a serious illness.
大丈夫ですか？
Are you alright?
私は医者
I'm
で
a
す。
doctor.
この手術跡は
When was the
いつ
surgical
頃の
scar
ものです
formed?
か？
Last year,
冬に
during the winter,
事故で
from an accident.
事故？
An accident?
そうですか。
I see.
参ったな。
This is the problem. He couldn't let the doctor figure out that he was faking it here. If he had to somehow figure out some way to keep this going and tell the doctor that he was being confined and needed help.
患部を少し触りますよ。
I'm going to touch the affected area, okay?
痛むところがあっ
If it
たら
hurts, tell
言
me
ってく
where.
ださいね。
Seeing that it was extremely painful, the doctor crossed his arms and began to ponder. He had to somehow get himself to the hospital. To Choishiki Inukai, faking this illness was the performance of a lifetime. Ah! Chapter break already! Oh, this is cicadas.
皆さんもご苦労さんなことです。
Okay. So we're gonna take a small little break. I'll be right back. Nothing that long. Nothing that long. Yeah, like 5 minutes or so. Cool. 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 I'm back. I'm back, 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 back. Yeah, scoot up. Go down. Stupid things in the way. I need to rearrange my desk. It's so cluttered with unnecessary stuff that's not even mine. Not even mine. First, I'm yelling to. It's not even in the room, so I'm not sure why I'm screaming. Put that there. That'll work. Let me also fix this real quick before I forget again. Rename. Group copy. Rename. Chapter 4. I changed my face. I changed my face. Oh, no, the smiley. Permanent smile. The smile is so hard. My jaw is coming out of my skin. I should be sad. Should be sad for the rest of the stream. Sad. Surprise? Pikachu face? Huh? 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 I'm not sure what this face would be. I think it's supposed to be evil, grinning, confident. Yeah, this face is just uncomfortable. I'm supposed to be smiling and happy, but I kind of look like a creeper, to be honest. This is the face that makes y'all run away. Do I keep it? I kind of want to keep it. It's like, walk into the club, and you see this face looking at you like, hey there. You look lovely. Can I touch your skin? Can I buy you a drink? Can you give me your address? I would love to know your address. I'd love to see all kinds of things. Flowers, movies, wedding dress. Okay, I'm being stupid. Let's continue. Good work, everyone.
お暑いでしょうが、せいぜい
I
頑
know
張
it's
ってく
hot,
ださい
but
よ。
please do your best.
不法投棄のダンプが現れたらすぐにご連絡ください。
Okay. If you're catching anybody illegally dumping, please contact someone immediately.
急行いたしますのでね。
We'll act quickly.
ご協力感謝しますよ
Thank you for
大
your
石さん
cooperation, Oshi-san.
どうぞ
Please. A gap wide enough for a single car was opened in the barricade. Oshi, showing his gratitude, or perhaps a threatening attitude, with a short beep of the horn, rolled the car forward through the checkpoint. This time, my appearance was the very embodiment of the word suspicious. A baseball cap, mask, and sunglasses. On the top of that, even though it was sweltering, I was wearing a hoodie. Any respectable police officer would be loath to not stop me for questioning. I was meant to be overcautious, knowing full well that my face was known. But it might have already been too late for that to have any use. Using that as an excuse, I dozed off the unbearable hot hoodie and windbreaker, ripped off the mask and hat, and threw them in the seat behind me.
ありゃ
Oh my.
いいんですか
Is that okay?
こんな小細工したところで
With a cheap little disguise like this?
どうせ割れているでしょうか
They
ら
probably figured it out anyways.
そりゃまあそうでしょうな。
That just might be the case. Oshi, probably thinking that my unexpected behavior was funny, continued to laugh. The beautiful, pristine scenery of Hinamizawa spread out before me. The village itself would have been quite beautiful if it weren't for the complicated circumstances surrounding it at the moment. I would absolutely love to take Yuki here for a drive one day. Come to think of it, I didn't get a chance to call her last night. Oh no. No. I played around with the idea in my head. But in reality, this village wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. I heard everything at the prefectural headquarters. At the heart of this village, the intelligence network and that the three families wielded was, due to blood ties and regional relationships, unbelievably well organized. Their net spread not just around Hinamizawa itself, but encapsulated the entirety of the city of Shishibone as well. When I first heard that, somewhere in the recesses of my mind, I didn't take it completely seriously. How could a local organization in the boonies here have something so grandiose? I couldn't deny that somewhere in the back of my mind I had ridiculed the thought. But not only were they really threatening the minister, but they demonstrated that they had a complete grasp on our movements, which were supposed to be top secret. They were almost like the secret police that controlled a small Eastern European country, like some spy novel. The villagers here wouldn't bat an eye at getting their hands dirty if it meant fighting the dam project. I also heard something like that at the prefectural headquarters. Ah, now that you mention it, when I first arrived here, Oshi also said that this place was a war zone, didn't he? The residents of this village were at the same time freedom fighters. Although by definition, they were no different than a guerrillas or a militia. They weren't protected by the Geneva Convention, but they also didn't have to adhere to those rules either. This place was more of a quagmire than any legitimate battlefield. A secret war was unfolding. I could drive along because Oshi was there with me. But if I was to leave this car for even something as trivial as looking for a vending machine, there's a chance I wouldn't return. Even though a single shot had been fired, this was a battlefield. No, the reason why bullets weren't flying was simply because it was hard for a civilian to obtain a gun in Japan. So they were probably just equipped with weapons other than guns that were easier to obtain. That was why she was wearing that stab-proof vest, wasn't it?
赤坂さん、緊張
Are
して
you
ます。
nervous, Akasaka-san? The fact that I was apprehensive was, of course, picked up on by Oshi. If he already figured it out, there was no point in trying to deny or hide it.
もちろんです。
Of course I am.
敵の本拠地に
We're headed
たっ
into
た
the
2人
heart
で
of
乗り込んで
enemy
いるんですよ。
territory, alone. Aren't we?
この人数では
I'm worried about
万
if
一の時
something
は不安です。
unlikely happens with just the two of us.
万一の時
Something unlikely?
大丈夫です
It'll
よ。
be alright.
この村の人間すべてが
Isn't
敵
everybody
で
in the
はありま
village
せんでしたか。
our enemy?
全員が口裏
If
を合わせれ
everybody
ば
gets their stories
この村
straight,
で白昼堂
they
々
could
殺
murder
人が起こ
someone
っても
in
証
broad
拠一つ
daylight,
残らない。
and there wouldn't be a shred of evidence.
そういうところだと聞いていますよ。
I'm asking something like that. This was what the ironclad rule of not barging into a Yakuza office alone was about. There wasn't a neutral party involved. That area wasn't bound by the laws of common sense. if something happened, you wouldn't be able to prove it, and there wasn't anybody who would take your side. It was pretty much the definition of poking the bear.
ひなみ沢地区へ向かうと同僚に言い残して
I
ますし
left
ね
word that we were headed towards the Hinamizawa area.
万一の時は無線
And
機
in the
もありま
worst
すし
case, we also got a radio.
赤坂さんが怖がってるほど
I know
ね
you're scared,
そう簡単には
Akasaka-san.
完全犯罪はでき
But
ま
it's
せん
not
よ
that easy to pull off the perfect crime.
ま
Well,
あも
of
ちろん
course.
油断をしないに
That
越した
doesn't
ことはあり
mean
ま
we
せん
can't
が
let
ね
our guard down either.
赤坂さん緊
You're
張し
too
すぎです
worried
よ
about this.
前にご一緒して
You're
た時の
more
方がリラッ
relaxed
クス
than
してら
last
したじゃ
time
な
we
い
came
です
up here
か
together, weren't you?
な
Laughing it off, oh, she thumped his chest and grinned, as if to say I could depend on him.
まあ本当の本当にヤバくなったら
If it gets really iffy,
桜の大
this
門
comes
に
with
はこい
having
つ
the
がありますからね
badge. Oh, she made a motion by sticking out his index finger. It was undoubtedly the image of a gun.
役に立ちますか？
Will it be of any use?
撃った後の後始末云々が怖くなけれ
You're
ば
afraid of dealing with the
実に
aftermath
心強い
after
です
you
よ
shoot. It's actually very reassuring. An officer gun was only for show. If you really wanted to fire it, there were quite a number of stipulations, and you had to be prepared for the long probability period afterwards. Probationary period afterwards. That definitely wasn't worth it. So even if an officer did unholster his gun, there wasn't one who actually wanted to pull the trigger.
赤坂さんは持ってるんですか
Are you carrying one, Akasaka-san?
これ
One of these?
まあ一応
Well, yeah.
撃ったことは
You ever fire it?
ありますよ。
I have.
訓練で
For
ですかね。
training, though.
そりゃそうでし
Well,
ょ
I
う
guess that'd
な
be true.
なら大石さんにはあるんですか？
Of you, Oshi-san?
私ですか
Me?
まさか
Nah,
あるわけ
there's
ないじゃ
no
ないです
way.
か
What was this? I thought he was laughing at me because he had experience. The two of us laughed together.
銃口を向けたこと
I
もあり
also
ません
never
が
pointed
ね
the barrel at anybody.
銃口を向けられたことなら
I looked down
何
the
度かあ
barrel
り
of
ま
a
すよ
gun a few times, though.
銃口を覗か
Just
される
being
だけ
made
で
to look down at the
寿命は
barrel
3年は
like
縮む
that,
な
it's enough to shorten your lifespan by 3 years. Even if he had never fired a gun before, you couldn't even begin to compare the amount of experience Oshi had over me. At a time like this, I could only marvel again at how reliable Oshi seemed.
そういえば日の高いうちにこっちには来たくなか
Come
っ
to
た
think of it,
な
I don't want to come this way in the middle of the day.
でも車道はここを
But
抜け
there's
る以
no
外にな
way
い
for a
し
car to get through other than here.
赤坂さん念のためもう一回マスクで
Akasaka-san,
顔を隠
just
して
in
くださ
case you
い
put on the mask again to hide your face, please.
どうしたんです？
What's the matter?
うん冷房がうるさいから聞こえないかな
Can you not hear it? It's because the air conditioning is too loud.
切りますよ
I'll turn it off.
窓を開けてみてください
Try opening your window. Why? When I opened the window, a blast of hot air blew inside. And then I could hear angry yelling coming from far away. At that moment, the forest gave way on either side of us, and our view expanded suddenly. And there you could see the Hinamizawa Dam construction grounds. The very front line of our Hinamizawa village. Oh god. We're absolutely opposed to the construction of the Hinamizawa Dam. The crackling blare of someone's voice sounded over an enormous loudspeaker. The roar of an angry voices continued to rumble. The incredible volume had become a veritable sound cannon, spewing out its ammunition. The prefabricated site office was surrounded by 2 sets of high fences, laced with barbed wire. Lined up in front of those fences were riot police in their vehicles. And surrounding it all were the villagers. They howled out their protest against the dam as a single entity. Oh, not too many of them today. We're in luck. That's not too many. Yeah, there's a lot of them. The crowd reaches as far as the road. You wouldn't even be able to enter forth in a car. At first, due to their overwhelming intensity, it looked to me like there was more people than there actually was. But upon closer inspection, there was at most to 50 to 70 of them. But the 6 or 7 propaganda trucks lined up that looked like they belonged to a band of thugs were a strange enough sight. The villagers were also wearing their helmets and bandanas, as well as covering their faces with masks, adding to the oddity of it all. The propaganda trucks, after burring their chorus, had their volume turned up even higher and began to flood the area with sutras. To say that the noises was downright violent wouldn't be an understatement. From this distance, it was still this loud. The glass in the office was probably rattling with the noise. They can't do anything there but take it. Those riot squad guys, every one of them was wearing earplugs, but they still have their hearing damaged. Poor sobs. Can't you do something about it with noise ordinance laws? Our prefecture doesn't have any laws regarding noise ordinances. Also, those are sutras, right? We can't regulate religious activities. Those guys are pretty smart. Is what I think Oshi said. Actually, no matter how tightly the window was shut, the booming sound of the sutras filled the car. I couldn't even hear what Oshi was sitting next to me was saying. As the car approached the line of propaganda trucks, the blare became difficult to hear. It wasn't enough just to plug my ears with my fingers. I had to hold my head to keep my skull from splitting apart. If I had seen this terrifying energy sooner, I would have probably understood what Hinamizawa village was much quicker. Now I know they wouldn't blink an eye at sacrificing themselves in order to protect their homes. So goddamn noisy. Shut up! My head throbbed and it felt like it was going to split apart. My eardrums crackled, and on top of it all, it felt like I was going to throw up. Hakasaka-san. I experience that shit almost every other day. I know. What did I hit? My finger just rolled on something. It's fine. I still got the log. Let's get this off. Okay. Shop. the road crowded with a throng of squatters, the propaganda trucks, and the riot police vehicles. It was in no easy to get by. Even if you tried to shoot squatters with the car horn, they were also wearing earplugs, oblivious to noises from the outside world. I wouldn't easily move. The car could only inch forward at a snail's pace. Even then, the car eventually got through, starting to leave the tumultuous noise behind. Hey, the old guy that was playing Monhog with us last night. Remember him? I remember that there was an older person who didn't exactly mince the words. The guy that she called Old Man. There was someone like that? You see, he's the foreman of the main construction site.
あそこのプレハブの中でイライラしながら仕事をなさってるんでしょう
He's
ね。
probably holed up in that prefab building trying to work while irritated out of his mind.
お気の毒なことです。
Poor fella.
あれが毎日ではたま
You
った
wouldn't
も
be
ので
able to
はない
stand
でしょ
it
う。
if it was like that every day.
え
Yeah.
耐えかねてやめちゃう
No
人が後を
end to
絶
the
ちま
number
せ
of
ん。
people who can't handle it and quit.
まあ、その度
But
に
every
お給
time
金
that
がアップ
happens,
してるんで、
their
なんとも
wages
言え
go
ま
up.
せんが。
So, I won't say it's in vain. Even having to deal with all that noise and hostility, they still made a wage that she found inevitable.
ちくしょう、こいつら。
Damn it! These guys!
聞こえてるのか
Can
聞
they
こえてない
hear
の
or
か。
can't they? A group of squatters were in the way of the car. She, officially annoyed, laid into the horn, but there was no indication that they were moving anytime soon. In this den, could they not even hear a car horn? Or did they hear it and were being malicious? If there were any riot police nearby, they would have made people move. But it just so happened there weren't any around here. Jeez.
ちょいと待っててください。
Just wait a minute. She opened up the door. The hot air, even more heated roar of the crowd spilled into the car. She said nothing as he grinned widely, but I couldn't hear what it was. He was getting them to move. Something like that. She stepped out of the car and closed the door. The din faded slightly. I stared blankly as Oshi heaved towards the group and started some sort of conversation. Maybe we find the minister's grandson at Tatsudo. At the very least, I want to find him there. Find him and slip the cursed bonds to this incognizable village. I could only pray. In that moment, a shadow was suddenly cast over me. Someone was standing right outside the passenger side window, blocking the sunlight. I spun around, looked up, and realized who the backlit figure was. Oh! Rika! It's Rika, guys! It's Rika! It was a girl. It was Rika Frude. The girl stared down at me with a bored look in her eyes. I didn't have any justification for it, but it felt like I had been found by somebody I shouldn't be found by. To fill the silence, I raised my hand as if I mouthed a meek greeting. Of course, there was no way she could hear my small voice in this clamor. But even then, she should have seen me wave my hand in greeting. In spite of that, she simply stared down at me with a cold look on her face. At that moment, the noise and heat spread throughout the car once again. Oh, she had returned to the driver's seat. Taking a look. The group that were blocking the road had started to move aside while glaring our way.
お待たせしました。
Sorry to keep you waiting.
行きましょうか。
Shall we go?
ん
Oh, so you registered register the figure of the girl behind me. When the villagers came over and picked her up, in a manner of, it's dangerous, so get away. It was then that she whispered one or two words, however I couldn't hear any of it.
さて、行きましょうかね。
Now then, let's go.
飛ばしますよ。
I'm gonna gun it, okay?
もちろん、法定速度
But
遵
of
守
course,
で。
within the speed limit. It was as if to shake off the still audible angry voices. Oh, she floored the gas. Along with the roar and the din and shouting, the village and the girl quickly disappeared behind us.
この先を抜け
As
る
soon
と
as we
高
were
津戸
through
地区です
here,。we're in Taksudo.
銃撃戦の覚悟は大丈夫ですか？
Are you okay if you end up getting into a firefight?
安全装置
Don't
外
be
すの
fumbling
土壇場
with
で
the
とちら
safety
ない
at
で
the
くだ
last
さい
minute.
よ。
You hear? Oh, she laughed mockingly again. I was more concerned with what the girl had said. However, as I was vaguely bothered by it, what was she trying to say with that apathetic and candid expression?
今から緊
Suppose
張
it's
したって仕
normal if
方
you're
ないで
nervous
すよ。
from here on out.
むしろ
But
収
if you
穫がな
don't
くて
deal
勇
with
み
it,
足って可能性
there's
だっ
a
て
chance
十
you
分に
might
あるん
do
ですか
something
ら。
rash. But there was no longer a way to confirm what the girl had tried to tell me. It might have been that the girl who warned me to go back to Tokyo again, or else, was saying to me who was here now, ignoring that warning.
警告したのにバカなやつ。
Ugh. Even though I warned you. What a fool. I had the feeling she said something like that. I don't like that disapproving face. I don't like it. Stop staring at me, Lady Burn. No. Shouldn't use that word. We might evoke somebody. If you were to call Hinamizawa a rather lonely village, then Taksudo was outright desolated. For your everyday city boy like me, I couldn't understand why anybody would force themselves to live here. There were signs that people had, but they were all covered in dust or enveloped in ivy, indicating that it was all abandoned.
こんなところにも人は住んでいたんですね。
People really lived in a place like this, didn't they?
まあ昔の話でしょう
Well,
な。
it was a long time ago.
こんな偏僻な
A
とこじゃ
remote place like
年
this
寄り
is
には辛
pretty
いで
rough
すし、
for old folks to live in.
若者だっ
And the
て
younger
も
people
う少し
probably
まとも
want
な
to
土
try
地に住
living
み
in
た
a
いでしょ
more
うし
suitable
ね。
place.
後を継ぐ
And
者が
there's
いなきゃ
nobody left to take the
最後には
reins.
こうなるってことで
All
しょう
that gets
な。
left is this. Even if I had no personal attachment to the village, seeing the disguised buildings made me feel a little sentimental. It seems that she also felt the same way.
こんなところで財布が発見されたんですか？
Was the wallet found over there?
財布の取得
The
者も
person who found it
よくこん
must
なに
have
偏僻な
good
ところ
reason
に
to
通り
come
かか
out
った
of
も
this
のですね。
desolated place.
ああ、村人には山の中に
Yeah,
畑を持
there's
ってる
some
連中がい
villagers
ました
who
よ
have
ね。
field out the mountains here.
そういう
They
連中
pass
は
by
朝
here
晩
in the
ここを通
morning
りま
and
すから。
evenings.
畑仕事
The
の村
villagers
人
who
たち
work
は
in the fields
早朝や夕
walk
方
by
に
here
こ
every
こを
day.
徒歩で通ると。
まさか
No way.
行けると
They
ころまで
probably
は車
go
で行
as
くで
far
しょ
as
う
they
な。
can by car.
早朝や夕方にこんなところを走
So
行
in
し
the
て
early mornings and
落ちてい
evenings,
るたった
they
一つの
pass
財
by
布を
here
発見できま
and
す。
just happen to walk to find a single wallet.
できたんでしょうな。
They probably did.
取得者は
Where exactly
ど
did
こ
they
で
say
取
they
得したと言
found
ってい
it?
ますか？
もう少し先を行ったところにあ
And
る
the
茂
thicket
みで
just
す。
a bit further ahead.
取得者は
The
たまた
person
ま
who
お腹が
found the
痛くな
wallet
って
just happened to
ちょ
have
いと
some
茂みで用
stomach
を足そう
cramps
と思った
and
ら
was
しい。
trying to use the thicket to do his business, it seems.
それで偶然見つ
It
け
was
たら
there
しい
he
んで
happened
す
to
よ。
find it.
中にちり紙
Probably
でも
hoping
入っ
there
てるのを
was
期待
some
したんで
toilet
すか
paper in
ね。
there.
話ができすぎているように感じます。
Everything about that story just seems a little too convenient.
財布発見の当初か
Right
ら
from the discovery of the wallet,
そういう違和
I
感が
can't
拭えません。
just shake the feeling that something's off. I expressed the feeling that I had from the start of the day, quite frankly. It seems too good to be true, but it was unwavering proof. But it was too perfect, sickeningly so. That was my feeling.
できすぎってな
You might
案外当
actually
たっ
be
てるか
onto
もしれませんよ。
something by saying it's all a little too perfect.
というと
Meaning?
実
The
は
truth
4課のお
is,
友
I
達から
heard
ち
a
ょいと
little
聞いた
something
ん
from
で
a
すが
friend of
ね。
mine in the 4th Division,
園崎お涼
where
が
Oreo
大臣の
Sanzaki
孫の誘拐
referred
事件
the
について言
kidnapping
及した
of
って
Mrs.
話なんで
Grant.
す。
言及した？
She referenced it.
大臣の孫ももう
It's
誘
been several
拐
days
され
since
てから
Mrs.
何
Grant
日
has
にもな
been
ってか
kidnapped.
わいそうだ。
Horrible.
そろそろ解放されるといいな。
It'd be nice if they let him go soon.
そう。
It
お
seems
涼
that
のばあさん
Oreo
が縁
muttered
側で
something
ぼ
like
そり
that
とつぶやいたってな
while on
話
her
らしいんです。
veranda.
で、その
And
ぼそ
that
り
little
が
musing was
園
conveyed
崎家
to
の
the
裏
various
の裏の
people
あちこち
working
に
deep
伝え
behind
ら
the
れてるよう
scenes
です。
at the Sanzaki family. Right. I had heard something earlier from Sato-san, the informant, that the leader, Oreo, had a concern somebody in the family would be considerate.
つまりそれは
So, in essence,
実
she
質
gave
上
the
の
order to
人
release the
質解放命令
hostage.
ですか？
私はそう見てます。
I see it that way.
この出来すぎの財布発見は孫を
The
警察に
wallet
引き
being
渡すためのイ
conveniently
ベントじゃ
discovered
ない
was just
か
a
と。
ploy to hand the boy over to the police.
どうして人質の解放を？
Why would they release the hostage?
そりゃ人質を解放するなんて理由は一つしかないじゃないです
There's
か。
only one reason why somebody would release a hostage, isn't there?
なんです？
What is it?
取引の成
They
立で
reached
す
the
よ
deal.。
ひなみ沢ダム
That
計
would
画
mean the
の
minister
中止を
promised to
大
halt
臣が
the
約束
Kimizawa
っ
Dam
てことですか
project.
ね。
ダム計画なんて
The dam
必
project
ず
would
なくなっちゃい
definitely
ます
go
ので
away.
す。
At those moments, those words that the girl had said resurfaced in the back of my mind. In the end, it was turning out exactly as she proclaimed. That young girl knew the circumstances. She knew everything about this kidnapping incident, from the beginning to the end.
赤坂
Akasaka? The girl unexpectedly called my name.
なんだい？
What is it?
東京へ
Go
帰れ。
back to Tokyo. Huh?
あなたは
Before long.
もう幾ばくも
You
し
will
ないう
won't
ちに
regret coming to this
この
village.
村に来たことをひどく後悔する。それがあまりにもみすぼらしくて
That would be
気の毒
incredibly
な姿だ
pathetic
か
to
ら
see.
今のうちか
So
ら
I
警
thought
告してあげて
I'm
いるの
warning
で
you
す。
right now.
どうして
Why
私が後悔するこ
come
と
to
になる？
regret it?
いちいちうるさい
Stop
な。
whining.
あなたの親は あなたが
when you
赤
tried
信号の
crossing
横
the
断歩
road
道の真ん
when
中に
the
いる
don't walk
時
sign was up.
どうして危ないのかを
Did you
全部説明し
did
終え
your
るの
parents
に
finish explaining
あなたの
why
手を
it
引っ張ら
was
ないの？
dangerous before pulling back to the sidewalk?
引っ張るでしょ。
They pulled you back right away. Didn't they? Wouldn't they?
まず
They
歩
pulled
道
you
まで
back
連れ
before
戻して
explaining
か
why it
ら
was dangerous.
なぜ危険なのかを解く
Wouldn't
でし
they?
ょ。
Yes, you have a point, my lady. But you don't have to be so cryptic all the time. You just tell us what you mean.
つまりはそういうこと。
In other words, it's something like that. The girl who knew everything from start to finish had warned me in the beginning to go back to Tokyo.
赤坂の怖がり。
Akasaka-kun is a coward.
孫は無事見つかるでしょう
We'll
が、
probably find the
その後はいろい
boy.
ろと
But
厄
what
介な
happens
問
after
題になるでしょ
will
う
probably
な。
be a bit of a problem.
どう厄介になるかは、一警察官の私には
Though it's
想
something
像
a
もつき
single
ませんが
officer
ね
like。me can't figure it out.
フルでリカって少女
Do you know
ご存知ですか？
a girl named Rika Frude? What I said was such a non-squitter that Oshi sat in stunned silence for a while.
もちろん知ってますよ。
Of course I know her.
御三家の一つ、
She's the only
フル
daughter
デ
of
家の
the
一人
Frude
娘です
family.
ね。
One of the three families.
どういう少女なんです？
What kind of girl is she?
おやおや、
Well,
これ
well.
は意外な人物名にちょっと
This was an
驚き
unexpected
で
name
す。
to hear. I'm a bit surprised.
公安ではフルデ家が臭いと睨んでおられるわけ
Does
で
the public safety think that the Frude family smells fishy and wants to keep an eye on them?
私にも情報を分けてくださいよ。
Share some information with me, please.
あ、いや、
Ah,
そういう
no.
のじゃないんです。
It's not like that.
ちょっとその、
It's just something
気
that
になった
caught
もので。
my attention.
まあいいや。
Whatever.
同じ宅を囲んだ友人の質問なら答え
It
ないわ
wouldn't
けにはい
do
きませんから
to not
ね。
answer a question from a friend I sat at the same table with.
友人と呼んでいただけて光栄
I
で
am
す。
honored that he would call me a friend.
で、
So,
あのお嬢ちゃんは
that
ね、
little lady is
まあ
well,
村のマスコットみたいなも
somewhat
ん
of
で
a
す。
village mascot.
村中の誰からも愛されてま
She's
す。
beloved by everybody in the village.
中でも年寄り連中には
Some
特
of
に
the
崇
older
められ
folk
てましてね。
worship her especially.
崇められる。
Worship.
よくは知らないんですがね。
Don't know much about it, you see.
フルデ家に生まれた女の子ってのに
Girls
は
born
多
into
少
a
神聖
Frude
な意味合い
family
があるらしいんですよ。
has somewhat of a sacred implication, it seems.
ひなみ沢の土着信仰
It's
です
one
が
of the
ね。
local beliefs in Hinamizawa.
お社様の生まれ変わりだとか
The
なんと
living
か、
incarnation of
そんな話がある
Oyashiro-sama,
らしいですよ。
or something like it. Or so the story goes, apparently.
お社様。
Oyashiro-sama?
そういえば、同盟の上り旗の中に、
Now that you mention
お
it,
社様と書かれたものがあったような気がします。
Oyashiro-sama written on some of the alliance banners.
何ですか？お
What
社様っ
is
て。
Oyashiro-sama exactly?
ああ、ひな
Ah,
み沢の守
it's
り
the
神様
name
の
of
名
the
前です。
guardian deity of Hinamizawa.
村にあだ
They
なす者
believe
に
it was
罰
that
を当てるって
punishment
信
on
じられて
those
ま
who
して
would
ね。
do ill towards the village.
まあ、
Well,
そんな
if
便
there
利
was
な
such
神
a
様がいたら、
convenient
ダ
god
ムの連中
around,
はとっくに神
the
罰にやら
guys
れ
at
てい
the
るんでしょ
dam
う
would
な。
have long since been done by divine justice.
幸い、今日までその罰って
Nothing
や
like
つ
that
は
has
一
happened
つも
to
起こってません
anybody
がね。
just yet.
村にあだなす大臣の孫が、
The grandson of the
お
minister
社
who
様の怒り
tried
に触れ、
who trifled with the village
と、
as a result of Oyashiro-sama's
なんて言いましたっけ？
anger was, what did they call it again?
そう、鬼隠し。
Onikakushi.
大臣の
The
孫
minister's
を
grandson
鬼隠しに
was
したと、
demoned away.
そういう筋書きになるわけでしょう
That
か。
would probably be how the script is being written.
なるほど
I
な。
see.
そういうこ
It'll
とにな
probably
るん
return
で
to
しょう
something like that.
な。
お社様が下し
Divine
た神
punishment
罰
wrought by Oyashiro-sama's snake by Oyashiro-sama.
なら
Then, the
犯人は
culprit
お
is the
社様の
living
生まれ変わりである
reincarnation of
あ
Oyashiro-sama.
の少女
That girl? Even I didn't know exactly what I was saying. The fact that she laughed it off was a bit of relief. She's joyous laughter was so infectious that I began to laugh like an idiot as well.
ありゃ、
Oh,
こりゃ珍し
this
い。
is unusual. She, after laying into the horn several times, rolled the windows down and leaned out, waving his arms in an exaggerated manner. It was a car headed the opposite way. Until now, it hadn't run into any other cars except our own. In all places, it was at this desolated location. It seemed that she knew the owner of that car. The other car also chirped his horn and came to a stop.
入江の先生、
Dr. Irie!
こんにちは。
Good afternoon. The other car's window rolled down slowly, revealing a young man in a white overcoat. He was about my age, or perhaps a bit older. But you really can't judge somebody by their appearance.
大石さんじゃありませんか。
Why, if it isn't Oshi-san?
こんにちは。
Good afternoon.
珍しいところでお会いしますね。
そりゃこっちのセリフで
That's
すよ、
my
先生。
line, Doctor.
まさかこん
I
なところ
never
で会
thought
うと
I'd
は
see
ね。
you here.
どうしたんです？
What happened?
いえね、
Oh,
ちょっとした往診
nothing.
です。
Just a little house call.
ありゃ、そうですか。
Oh, really?
休館とかで
Was
し
it
た
an
か。
emergency?
いえ、
No,
そんなに大したことで
nothing
はあり
quite
ません
that
でした。
serious.
よかったですよ。
Thankfully.
お医者の世話にならずに
It's
済むなら
always
それに
best
越
when
した
the
ことはな
patient
いで
gets
す。
better without the need of medical care.
ではこれで。
I'll take my leave here.
急いで戻らないと、
If
ス
I
タッ
don't
フに
get
怒
back
られますん
quickly,
で。
my staff will get angry with me.
診療所長さん
Being
も
the
大
head
変
of a
です。
clinic must be tough.
ではでは、お気
Well
をつけ
then,
て。
take care. The young doctor named Irie, after gesturing his farewell, drove forwards and soon disappeared around a corner. She also drove forward, but soon came to a stop again. He pulled out a worn map book from the dash. His expression didn't have an ounce of reverence. He was perfectly serious.
どうしたんです？
What is it?
今日は診療所は
The
往診の
clinic
日じゃ
shouldn't
な
be
いはず
making
で
any
す。
house calls today.
よっぽどの休館か、
It must have been
特
quite
殊な
an
事情
emergency,
のある患者
or
と
otherwise
いう
a
ことになり
patient
ますね。
with some insinuating circumstances. She flipped through the pages, opening up to the map of Takasudo. After that, he took a look around and started to figure out what our current location was.
その休館が怪しいということですか？
Are you saying the emergency is suspicious?
言ったでしょう。
Didn't I say?
高津戸地
There
区
are
に
anybody that lives
住
in
んで
that
る人なんて
Tatsudo
ほとんどい
area.
ないんですよ。
The
今
road
私た
we're
ちがい
on
る
right
道は
now is
こ
here.
こ。入江先生はこの道に対して
Dr.
こっち
Irie
の
came
方向から
from
走って
this
きたと。
direction. I have no sense of surroundings. That's just me. Having no sense of surrounding, I couldn't digest anything about the place he was indicating on the map.
私たちは
We're
財
heading
布の
towards
取
the
得場所
spot
を目
where
指
the
して
vault
い
was
ます。
found.
ちなみに
By the
取
way,
得場所はこ
that's
こ。
over here.
でもね、
Let's see.
高津戸地
You're
区に
heading
わずかに
to
ある
one
民
of the
家に
few
向かうに
residents in
は
Tuxedo.
そもそも道
This
が
is the
違うん
wrong
です。
road.
つまり入江氏は
Dr.
民家のない
Irie
方角から来たと。
came from a direction where there was no residents.
山間の段々畑で農作業中
As
に誰
long
かが
as
倒
somebody
れたっ
working
て
the
ので
fields
ない
between
限り
these
ね。
mountains didn't collapse.
人が倒
But
れ
if
て医者が
somebody
呼ばれたら
collapses and you
それ
call a
は連れ
doctor,
帰って詳しく調べるもん
normally
です。
you bring them back with you for a more detailed examination.
でもさっきリエ医師は大したことはな
But
かっ
now
たと言い
Dr.
ましたね。
Irie said it was nothing serious.
車には他には誰も乗っていなかった
And
よう
it
です
didn't
し
seem like anybody else was in the car with them. Oh, she didn't say any more than that. I also said nothing more. The doctor just now examined a patient. Close by. Only that, the noisy radio had suddenly gone quiet. The sky had just a suddenly turned an oppressive color. She mused that it might start to rain. A torrential downpour started, as though trying not to disappoint him. Eventually, she stopped the car. The only sounds to break the silence were the percussion of the rain. Percussion of the rain on the roof of the soft squeaks of the windshield wipers.
ちょいと静かで行きましょうかね。
Let's do this a bit hush hush, shall we? Saying that in a quiet voice, he exited the car without an umbrella, carefully not to make any noise. She leaned over, indicating the other side of the thicket. He was pointing to a prefabricated shed in a car that was parked beside it. The car looked obviously well cared for. It wasn't a vehicle that had been left there for several years.
あの小屋は
What about the shed?
営林署の機材小屋です。
It contains equipment used by the forestry service.
夏場以外は利用されて
I
ない
heard
と
that
聞
they
きま
don't
した。
go near it except during the summertime.
あの車は営林署の職員の
Does that car belong to somebody from the forestry service then?
さあね、
Don't know.
公用車には見え
It
ないで
doesn't
す
look like
ね
an。official vehicle though. She was playing it cool. But my nervousness was gradually increasing.
一応は念の
Just
た
in
め。
case. Saying that, she returned to the car. I thought he was going to get an umbrella, but he had grabbed the onboard radio instead.
もしもし、大石です。
Oh, this is Oshi.
聞こえてる
Do
か
you
な
read?
こんにちは。
Greetings,
こんにちは。
greetings.
はい沖宮
Yes,
PS
this is Okemiya PS.
大石さん感度
You
良好
read
で
you
す
loud and
どう
clear.
ぞ
She's on clear and over.
今、高津戸地区
I'm
の
currently
営
in
林
front of
署
the
機材
forestry
小屋前で
service
す。
equipment shed.
山口に向かう方じゃない
Not the
よ。
one in the direction of
南沢から高
Higuchi.
津戸に入
The
る方
one in Tatsudo. If you head there from Hinamizawa.
はい確認しました
Affirmative. Copy, sir. Copy that.
小屋に不審者。
There are some suspicious people in the shed.
これより職質しま
Proceeding
す。
to investigate.
5分で連絡なかったら
If you
駐
don't
在所に
hear
連
back
絡
from me in
と
5
大至急
minutes,
応援パトロ
get
ー
in
ルを送っ
touch
て
with
く
the
ださ
local police substation and have them send a cruiser as soon as possible.
い。よろしくお願いします。
If you would please.
了解しました
Understood.
じゃあ
Well then,
行ってみましょうかね。
shall we go take a look? No. Okay. Serious now. Since he was the first confined here. Since he was first confined here, he had heard the sound of a car multiple times. So he just thought the far sound was more of the same. However, the reaction from his captors was until now something he hadn't seen before. They jumped, reacting as a shock by a jolt of electricity, and pressed against the window, cautiously peering outside.
止まったな
They stopped.
営林署の
Somebody stopped from the forestry service.
まずいぜ
This is bad.
いや
Nah,
警察やんな
it looks like a cop to me. One of the captors lifted the boy by his collar and pressed a blade against his cheek.
お兄ちゃんちょい静か
Hey,
にしてくれ
kid. Keep quiet for a bit.
分かってると思うけど
I think you know
思い出
this.
したり
If
する
you
と
try
大
and
変な
shout,
ことになるからな
there'll be problems. Toshiki Inukai was sure that the doctor had reported things to the police. He had felt relieved when he thought he was saved, but not imagining that his captors would resort to violence and they were cornered. His anxiety remained unabated.
どうする
What do we do?
時間稼いでる
Because by time,
小僧を連れて
take the kid.
ちょい裏から
Let's
抜けろ
about the back.
ほとぼり冷めたら落ち合
We'll
おう
meet back there where when the heat's off. One of the perpetrators grabbed the boy by the collar and forced him to stand. Of course, Toshiki Inukai tried to resist by saying that his illness had been agitated by this rough treatment, and his captors paid no heed. Bang, bang, bang. Bang, bang, bang. The door was violently banged upon.
ごめんください
Excuse me.
こんにちは
Hello. Bang, 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 bang. The door was banged on again. Toshiki Inukai hesitated for a moment to respond to that voice by yelling. However, while he was being indecisive, his mouth was covered, taking the option away from him. The leader of the captors waved the others to go on. The younger perpetrator nodded in response, and while keeping the boy's mouth covered, started heading towards the back door.
はいはい何かご用かいね
Hello, do you need something?
どうも
How do you do?
警察ですが
This is the
ね
police.
ここちょっと
Would you
開けて
mind
もらっていい
opening
です
the
か
door?
急な雨で困っちゃいましてね
The sun and rain has us all in a bit of a trouble.
ええ
Hey.
今開けます
Oh. The moment the lock was undone, she forced the door open. With a gleam of menace in his eyes, he pushed the man aside and stepped into the room. Then, in the small and empty room, he was able to quickly discern that the boy he was looking for was nowhere to be seen.
あれ私はここは営林署の機
I
材
heard
倉庫
this
だっ
was
て
an
聞いて
equipment
たんで
shed
すけ
for
ど
the
ね
forestry service.
何にもあ
There's
りませ
nothing
ん
here at
ね
all. There's nothing inside the room that would indicate this was the equipment shed. There was only a mountain of blankets, indicating that somebody was sleeping here, alongside empty food packets strewn about.
ああここはずいぶん前
It's
から
been
空っ
empty
ぽ
for
さ
some time now.
機材がしまってあるところなんて
Stored around
見たこ
here.
ともね
でも営
So
林
this
署
is
の
the
建物で
forestry
しょ
service building, isn't it?
あんた
Are you
Hey,
from the
Insurance
forestry service?
えあんたこそ誰よ
Ah,
警察
but yeah, police. The two of them glared at each other suspiciously. Both Oshi and the man steadfastly refused to reveal their identity before the other did. The man, judging from the sharp look in his eyes, realized Oshi's eyes, realized that it would be hard to talk his way out of this. No matter what he said, the most time he could buy would probably be only a few dozen seconds. Only the sound of rain filled the tense moment. Just then, they heard the sounds of a struggle from far off. She had a hunch. There was no doubt that Akasaka, who was circling around the back, had run into the perpetrators who were trying to slip away. Woo! Oh god, dude, you just knocked out? Didn't hit us, guys. As she thought that the man in front of him reacted Aoshi thought that the man in front of him reacted a moment faster. The man swung with an attack that was more intended to obscure Oshi's vision, rather than actually hit him in the face. Seizing his opportunity, the man aimed a kick at Oshi's groin without any hesitation. But he missed his mark and was unable to land that critical blow. Ooh, this is beat. Is meditation still? The man, trying to pin Oshi, grabbed him by the base of his neck with both hands and fiercely tried to push him down. But as Oshi fell backwards, as if kicking the man upwards, he dug his foot into the man's midsection. With that leg acting as a flukon, the man was flung over the falling Oshi as if by a circle thread. The two of them squared off in the pouring rain.
面白いじゃないの。
Isn't this interesting?
俺とやろうってか。
You wanna go? Oshi, as if trying to cheer himself on, grinned smugly. He then stood up while brushing the mud off himself. Even though he counted the assault, Oshi was getting up, rather awkwardly, compared to the man who swiftly sprang to his feet.
Oi-san!
Oh-san!
早く!
Hurry up! Akazaka's voice rang out from the distance. Judging from the distress in his voice, he was already engaged in a fight, and wanted Oshi to reconvince with him. But Oshi's hands were full as well.
赤坂さ
Akazaka-san!
ん、申し訳ない。
Sorry,
ちょっと待っててく
but
ださ
can
い
you
よ。
wait a bit? The man raised both fists into a stance that hinted at him being acquainted with karate or some other form of martial art. But of course, Oshi, as an officer of the law, was decently versed in judo. He also had the moxie to have been through his fair share of fights before. Because of that, he could tell that the man in front of him was quite a bit of a better at fighting than he was. Ah, damn it. Thinking that this was going to be easy just because the order came from the Zanzaki family to release the hostage had been a big mistake.
なかなか上等じゃないの。
You are pretty good.
久々に利益
You
が
know,
込
wow,
み
so
上
I
げてく
got
る
this
感じが
worked
し
up.
ますよ。
Oh, she played off the situation like it was no sweat. His opponent, seeing his attitude, took that to mean that she wasn't going to go down easily. The man wildly charged forward, attempting to grab Oshi. If the man managed a successful clinch hit from his low stance, Oshi would be tackled to the ground and end up being mounted. It was something you saw often when children fought, but it was really a bad position, since you couldn't do much once you were in it. Oshi, responding to that move, also lowered his stance to collide with the man head on. The moment they clashed, Oshi grabbed the man's lapel. As he yanked the lapel upward, he smashed into the man's solar plexus with the elbow of the same arm. From Oshi's own personal brand of brawling judo. He then grabbed on with his free hand and attempted to throw his opponent with both hands. But the man lowered his center of gravity and swung his arms in a large circle, intertwining them with Oshi's. Not only that, but he had forced both of Oshi's elbows to the outside, and Oshi, now in an awkward position, was in danger of exposing his back with his hands, still clutching the man's chest. This guy practiced Aikido, or grappling, didn't he? Oshi, cursing the fact that his fingers were twisted into the man's shirt and couldn't get away, released his grip. But he was still in an awkward position of being bent over, and to top it all off, at zero range. The man was able to read Oshi's movements completely as he tried to squirm his way into a better position. And then took the palms of his hands and swiftly clapped them over Oshi's ears. Oh! Clapping the ears in any other martial art, except for self-defense, was basically forbidden. Karate and Judo didn't recognize it as a legal technique. It was that much of a simple and dangerous attack. Oshi raised both his hands as he tried to reflectively clutch his own ears. But before that could happen, the man wrapped his arms around Oshi's neck. His thick biceps clenched firmly around the base of Oshi's neck like a vice. Uh-oh, he's seeing red, Oshi essentially thought he was going to be killed. After all, it wasn't hard to believe that a man like this, who was accustomed to fighting, could crush his opponent's neck from this position. But his opponent didn't do that. He had chosen to keep his hold and force Oshi to lose consciousness. That's why Oshi, at that moment, even though his face was twitching, was grinning widely. Even though his opponent had a chance to kill him, he didn't choose to. He was thinking, this guy has no intention of killing me. However, even though that might have been the case, the man's hold on his neck was by no means gentle. In no time at all, Oshi consciousness began to fade. Having the experience of being taken down countless times in judo during his student days, Oshi was utterly resigned to the fact that it was over. Now get up, Oshi! Get up! Akasaka was finally recovering from the intense pain of being kicked in a rather sensitive area. Oh! Poor lad. He had bumped into the capture, carrying the boy by the back of the entrance. He had seen Toshiki Inukai's picture plenty of times, but wasn't able to immediately ascertain that the boy in front of him was the real deal, with his mouth covered in packing tape. Also, with his limited experience, it wasn't hard for him to panic over how to deal with the situation. Of course, the perpetrators didn't overlook this monetary lapse. His kick landed squarely in a critical spot, with Akasaka not even having time to call for help. Cheap move! As the man flung the boy over his shoulder, he headed towards the front of the shed. But upon hearing Oshi's bellowing voice, he gave up on going in that direction. He then dashed off towards the forest. As if the way the boy was slung over his shoulder wasn't even there. Akasaka was lost for a moment. Meeting up with Oshi, who was fighting with the enemy, was by far the safer option. But he couldn't just lose the sight of the fleeing man. Akasaka stood up and chased after the captured back. He ran through a short thicket, branches and fallen leaves touching the underfoot. The tips of the branches raked and clawed at him, small scratches inscribing themselves on his body one after another. He kept on stepping onto puddle and mud, and his shoes were soon filled with murky water. For Akasaka, traveling through this unexplored forest was, even though this was an emergency situation, extremely unpleasant. Stop! This is the police! As he said that, he regretted it immediately, as it was but a waste of breath. There wasn't a thief in the world that would politely stop when told to do so by the police. To a city boy like Akasaka, running through this forest was an arduous task. However, it must have been no easy task either for the man carrying the minister's grandson. he neither gained nor lost ground in his pursuit. Akasaka, upon realizing that, gained back a bit of composure. Just keep on chasing him. We are running into the same conditions. In fact, the man running with an awkward stride was at far more of a disadvantage. They couldn't run forever. Eventually, he definitely trip and fall. As long as he was being hounded, he would definitely stumble. And soon, his wish was fulfilled. The man who stepped into something and lost his balance was no longer able to bear the weight of the boy dropping him. Akasaka, in all honesty, didn't care about the perpetrators at all. Just as long as he could ensure the safety of the Toshiki Inukai. So if the perpetrators ran off by himself, it was perfectly acceptable. But it seemed that Toshiki Inukai was important to the man as well, and didn't choose to just run away empty-handed. Akasaka didn't know what to do in this kind of situation. His first priority should probably be to ensure the safety of the boy, so doing his capture being less important. Grappling with the perpetrator wasn't something he planned on. Oh. Drop the phone. I live on the ground. I'll have to like just look at there, see what's posted in the chat. But most likely, it was either to or die. Akasaka movements indicated indecision proved to be fatal. The man, aiming right between, or rather for both of Akasaka's eyes, struck with a jab. Not only that, Akasaka raised both his hands to shield his face. At that moment, the man kicked him unguarded in his unguarded midsection. The pain almost felt like his vital organs were being squeezed out of his body, but he lashed onto his opponent's leg. But his opponent didn't hesitate one bit. Leading with his seized foot, the man jumped at Akasaka, applying pressure and pushed him down. Akasaka was unable to withstand that and fell, but under no circumstances was he letting that leg go. The two men fell together in a tangled heap. The man was desperate to pull his leg free from Akasaka, but having fallen in an awkward position, was unable to. The two of them rolled around on the ground, floundering, trying to gain an advantage. But Akasaka, who was holding onto his opponent's knee with both hands, and that opponent, who had complete freedom to move his upper body, were in two completely different situations. The man gained a positional advantage on Akasaka, who was still lashed onto his leg and couldn't move away, and pounded full force on his head with both his fists. Not only that, he found a rock nearby and beat it against— oh my god! And beat it against Akasaka's skull. How is our boy still alive? The difference between being hit with a fist and being hit with a rock was vast. Akasaka quickly thought of letting go of the man's leg to free his hand to protect his head, but if he let go here, the man would get away. If he didn't dig in here, everything would be for naught. The boy he was trying to save was right there. He was going to save him and go back to Tokyo. If he could do that, then it was goodbye to this freakish village. Bam! Crap! Thud! Without looking, I could tell my forehead was split open and was gushing blood. But I didn't let go of the man's leg. How could I? I won't let go. But the man realized that no matter how much he beat my head, he wasn't getting away. He used both his hands to grab my throat, as if to crush my windpipe. I pulled my head back as a slight form of resistance, but it was no use. The man's hands enveloped my neck and began to crush it like a vice. It was less about the pain of not being able to breathe, so much that it was choking so hard that I felt like I was going to throw up. I felt like my stomach was going to turn on itself inside out, but I couldn't endure it. Damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it. My throat hurts. I won't let go. I won't let go. I didn't want to be here. I want to resolve this and go back to Tokyo. Go back to Tokyo and talk to Yuki, all of our unborn child. We're going to talk about our bright future. I had no indication of losing my grip. However, if I loosened it just a bit and the man's leg came free, the man kicked as hard as possible and I stumbled backwards. My head was spinning and I wasn't able to get up right away. No, I couldn't even put my strength into getting up in the first place. And so, I couldn't back down now. If I let him escape now, this chance would never come again. Even just catching their scent was nothing short of a miracle. If we weren't able to get the minister's grandsons back here, there wouldn't be another chance. The man tried to drag the boy to his feet, but the kid was displaying some unexpected resistance, allowing me to get up unnoticed. I grabbed the rock the man had just beat me over the head with. Now, it's my turn. The rock should be able to supplement what meager strength I had left, putting more than enough power to my attack. My fist still wrapped around the rock, dug into the side of the man's torso. It seemed like it hurt him quite a bit. The man rolled around for a bit, clutching his side. Free from the man's grip, the boy hid behind me.
Inukai Toshiki-kun da ne.
Toshiki Inukai-kun, right? I come to help you. The boy, those were the words he was waiting for the most. But the crisis was still not over. That was because even though he was still clutching at his side, the man had gotten up again, had taken a fighting stance. I could see in the man's eyes the resentment at the pain I had caused him, and the confidence that he could still beat me. If we were to clash head-on again, he might not even stop if my head was split open. Stop resisting! Surrender quietly! You should just hand over the boy! Do you want me to snap your neck? Who will listen to you now? Reinforcements are already underway. There's nowhere for you to run. The man reacted adversely to the word reinforcements. That was because he now knew that arguing like this wasn't just a waste of time, but put him closer and closer to danger. Realizing that, the man shifted mental gears almost too quickly. Then let's finish this fast. How about this? What? What the man pulled out from his back pocket was all things a gun. Of course, I'm a police officer. It's not like I don't know what a gun is. But having one pointed at me was something I never experienced before. Was it real? Of course it was. There's no way it would be a replica in a situation like this. Put both your hands behind your head and lay down quietly. You cocky villain! I won't do anything you say! Stupid idiot! You not know what this is without me shooting you with it? Then shoot. The reinforcements will hear the gunshot and head over here right here. Are you stupid? We're in the middle of the forest, and on top of that is raining. They'll never hear a thing. As long as he still held that gun, no matter how much I yelled at him, I was at disadvantage. But I still had a fighting chance. If I were in his shoes, instead of wasting time yelling at each other like this, I would just shoot him and take the boy. That way was the fastest, and would suppress any sort of further resistance from him. The man was demanding my surrender without having fired a shot, meaning that he either didn't want to shoot or couldn't. In other words, the man in front of me was soft. But if I could even just a little, if I could buy even just a little more time, the factors that would lead to my victory were numerous. She was probably on his way, and the reinforcements we called for before coming here should already be well on their way too. Not only that, they should have contacted the local police box. Without a doubt, somebody stationed in the village would be here much quicker than that. Damn it! Do I have to put a bullet in you to understand how dangerous this thing is? No escape from actually your crimes. At that moment, I heard the rustling of foliage and heavy footsteps approaching. If Oshi was coming here, it was a whole new ball game. The man couldn't have more than one gun. Over here! Oshi-san! Over here! Over here! I had thought that time was on my side, but I failed to even imagine that the enemy could also have reinforcements. I could tell the man who had disappeared was one of the perpetrators just by looking at him. What you doing? If you don't hurry up, the police will get here. Stop lollygagging! Damn it! What happened to Oshi-san? That chubby fella. He's down for the count. He is? Damn it. The boy, sensitive to the impending danger, curled up behind my back. How could this be? Damn it! Your buddy isn't coming. Serves you right. Shoes on the other foot now. As I backed up against a large tree while protecting the boy, the second man also pulled out a gun. Won't be saying this twice. Put your hands on your head and lie down. I refuse. Oh! Bang! As I shouted in protest, blood erupted from my left shoulder. It took a few moments to register that I had been shot. Compared to the ones from movies and TV dramas, the first actual gunshot I heard was simple and mundane. In fact, the sound was more akin to a small fireworks I used to buy from the corner store as a kid. But there was no comparing the pain. It was a fear you knew only after you'd been shot. Sir? Are you okay? Are you okay? The boy, in his confusion, tugged on my clothes, agitating the wound even further. I wanted to put on a bold face and reassure him, but my voice was hoarse and had the opposite effect. I'm alright. I've already called for backup. There'll be full squad here soon. It'll be quicker to put you on through your head before the cops get you. But the family said no needless killing, so I'm taking it easy on ya. Don't mess with me, or I ain't holding back. This was bad. It was very, very bad. This second man was completely different beast than this first. He had no signs of indecisiveness or mercy. If this man said he shoot, he shoot. He wasn't somebody that a man like me could buy time from. I really hate to admit it, but at that moment, the image of Yuki's smiling face crossed the back of my mind. I knew what that meant. I was warning myself to not throw my life away over a matter of pride. Of course, I didn't want to die here. I was just starting a new life with Yuki. I wanted to see the face of our soon-to-be-born child. Why should I risk my life for some minister's grandson when I was such a critical juncture of my own life? God damn it! Damn it! I need to stop rambling at myself. So what do I do now? Give up the boy and instead my own life? What a good idea. Everybody's life is precious. My own life was in danger. Nobody would blame me. God damn it, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts! If I'd known it would be this painful, I wouldn't have played the tough guy. My biggest miscalculation, though, was the sound of the gunshot was far quieter than I imagined. If it was only that loud, it would be drowned out by the rain in the forest. It wasn't something that somebody far away could hear. Damn it! Wait! Just wait! I don't want to die! I don't want to kill ya! As long as you understand. Don't shoot. Okay? Don't shoot! I have a wife waiting for me at home. I don't want to die! Don't shoot along and don't yell or nothing. Just probably put your hand on your head and lie down. Will you really? Will you really? Look at your promise, right? This is a promise between men. I will. It's a promise between men. Keep your promise. Keep it. I'm going to get down on the ground. Okay? I'm getting down. I keep my promise. Stop pointing that gun at me. You're still thinking of shooting me, aren't you? You want to shoot me, don't you? When I get down on the ground, you're just going to shoot me in the back of the head, aren't you? I won't. Fine. I'll put it away. I'll put the gun away. Promise between men. There. No problem now, right? Yeah. Absolutely no complaint. Ooh! It was over in a flash. The moment he lowered his gun, she didn't let his chance slip by. She's been reciting the situation for quite some time, from behind the two men. But since they had their guns trained on me, he didn't really have a chance to jump in. Seeing the look on Oshi's face indicated that he wanted me to create an opening. I took that role completely. She forcefully lifted the arm that was holding the gun. He then took the gun from the man's hand and only in an instant. The other man, who was a bit slow in grasping what was happening, pointed his gun at them. But with his ally grappling with Oshi, he couldn't pull the trigger. If that man was the one that was wrestling with Oshi at the moment, he might have shot without hesitation. But this man wouldn't shoot. He couldn't shoot. Oshi kicked the other man away while aiming the stolen gun. With his left hand, pulled out his own. With guns akabino, he was aiming at both men at the same time. I do believe that's checkmate. It was perfectly played. But needless to say, the gun was pointing at them. The men shouted, "Scram!" and to scatter away at full speed. It was over in an instant. Those two running away without putting up a fight was honestly unexpected. Oshi, quietly kicking his tongue in admonishment, slipped both guns into his pants pocket. Tisk! Those guys know their stuff. What do you mean? An officer won't fire somebody who's fleeing. I want to keep my prescription here. Oshi and I grinned at each other. Are you Toshiki Inukai-kun? The grand on the Minister of Construction Inukai? Yes. This is going to be a major incident. Probably only cut the tail off the lizard, though. Oh, she smiled amusedly. The fact that Onefukuchi guardians, or rather the Sansaki family behind them, was pulling the strings was apparent, but proving it wouldn't be easy. And with apologies to Ooshi, this incident was unlikely to go public. If this caused an uproar, it would obviously lead to the minister losing his office. With HQ having decided that doing so was in the national interest, this would probably be cleaned up quietly. It might be a rough way of saying it, but this was born in the shadows, and it was going to die in the shadows. Oh, she probably already understood the implications behind this incident.
とにかく非常
For the
線を張
time
らせましょう
being, let's cordon off the area,
連中まだ
since it
一
seems
丁は
that
拳
one
銃を
of
持
them
ってるよう
still
ですから
has a
ね
gun.
それから犬飼君を
After
保
that,
護して
let's
赤
get
坂さん
Unikai
はす
Kun
ぐ
to
に病院に
safety
行かないと
and get you to the hospital. As the tension in the situation faded, the pain from the gunshot wound in my shoulder blossomed once again. My forehead was also stinging painfully, and had grown hot enough to start a fire. Thinking that the tension had caused me to sweat, I wiped off my forehead, but it came off with a large amount of blood. I realized that my shirt had been stained bright crimson from the blood flowing from my head. I turned around. The boy was safe and sound. Without a doubt, there would probably be an investigation on the men who ran, but that was for another day. At this point in time, I could safely say we had cleared the major hurdle of securing the boy's safety. As soon as I recognized that, it felt like the lights in my head had been hit by a power failure. Okay, he's losing consciousness. My knees buckled from underneath me, the ground there feeling as soft as a cloud. It didn't feel unpleasant, even as I was covered in rain-soaked mud. Oh, she came closer, asking if I was okay, but somehow I couldn't tell. I turned off the switch to the last light in my head. The exhaustion enveloped me. Sleep. Something softer than any blanket wrapped around me. What happened? You waking up? Their boy alive? Okay, hit the chapter break. Oh, we still have a minute before my normal cutoff time. Let's keep going. Ooh, we got a new tip. A very kind person. What could this one be? What could this one be? Patients admitted to the hospital can only accept calls fixed at times. That's why she wouldn't be receiving a call from him today. Yesterday she had teased him that he got lonely easily. So he might have struggled with the idea of calling her sooner. That was much easier than to imagine, rather than that he might just be too busy to call. Because he's just that type of person. Yuki whispering that, smiled to herself. The announcement that visiting hours were played over the hospital intercom, along with some music. She exchanged pleasantries with the family of the patient that was staying in the same room as her, probably eager for his mother to be discharged. Their small child was wearing a beaming smile. That child's mother was pregnant in the bed next to mine. Mine with what may have been their newborn brother or sister. They were probably ready to burst with expectations, dreams, and worries of having a new sibling. The joys of a growing family. Bathing in those warm feelings, I stroked my own belly, which had grown quite large. I had talked with him about how many children we wanted to have. We talked about how if he had 3, it would certainly be lively. However, there was an inescapable There was an inescapable worry of whether I would be able to handle giving birth that many times.
でもそんなことを不安に思って出産を嫌う母
There
なん
isn't,
て
there isn't a
いない
mother
ですも
out
の
there
ね。
who would hate to give birth because of that worry, though. Yuki, smiling as she said that to herself, gently stroked her stomach. This Metropolitan Public Safety Division. The place where that man's sense of justice had led him. That person was actually a very gentle, very fragile person. He didn't talk much about the Pacifics, but I didn't think he was suited for that assignment he was on right now. But as long as he said he was going to try his best, I will watch over him warmly.
あなたのお父さんはね、
Your father
とっても頑張り屋さんなのよ。くちょく
is
ち
a
ょく
very
ちょく
hard
ちょ。
worker, you know? Kuchi 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 ku. Yuki seemed to be enjoying herself as she talked to her own belly. At that moment, Yuki suddenly became concerned about something and looked out the window. It used to be this time, long ago. She remembered that when she was little, around this time, in the countryside, where her grandmother lived, the Higurashi would fill the air with their chorus. This was the middle of Tokyo. Like in the countryside, you couldn't hear the song of the Higurashi. But for some reason, at that moment, Yuki felt that she wanted to hear that song. No, that's why Yuki goes to because she wanted to hear the song of the Higurashi. The Higurashi, fuck the Higurashi. Alright. Get going. That was my first time losing consciousness. You often hear of regaining consciousness on top of a bed, but this was my first time actually experiencing it.
もしもし
Hello,
大丈夫ですか
are you okay? Realizing that I was awake, a young doctor called out to me. I didn't intend to respond, but it seems that my body language had told him I was conscious. My head was wrapped in bandages. The scratches all over my body had also been treated. My sense of pain also returned with my consciousness, causing me to groan from the intense pain shooting all throughout me.
起きないで横になっていてく
Don't
だ
try
さ
to
い
get up. Just stay lying down, please.
頭をだいぶ殴ら
Seems
れた
that you
よう
took
ですから
quite
ね
a few blows to the head.
24時間は
I
特
want
に
you to
安静にし
stay,
て
I want you to stay
容体を見
rested so
守
we
りたい
can
ところで
monitor your
す
condition. At least for the next 24 hours.
ここは
Where is this?
私の診
This
療
is
所
my
です
clinic.
入江と
Pleased to
申
meet
し
you.
ます
My name is
よろしく
Iria. I remember that this young doctor was the one in the car headed to the opposite way earlier.
誰か
Is
いま
here.
せんか
Is there somebody here?
大石さんは
Where's Oshi-san?
あ
Ah,
呼んできましょう
I'll call him over.
診療所の中
There's
は
no
禁煙なん
smoking
で
inside the clinic,
表で
so
吸っ
I
てもらっ
had
てるん
him
です
smoke outside. Dr. Irie left the room to call Oshi. Scenery outside the window was tinted with gold. The pouring rain had stopped, with the voices of the Higurashi hurtling the cooling temperature. I felt that the tone of the Higurashi's voices was comforting. Eventually I heard heavy footsteps coming closer, which I reckoned to be Oshi's. The fog that was enveloping my head slowly faded back to reality. What had happened since then? What had happened to the boy? What about the reinforcement from Tokyo? The door to the room flew open, allowing Dr. Irie and Oshi to enter.
じゃあ命に別状はないんでしょ
So there's no serious damage, is there?
ないとお約
I
束はで
can't
きません。
promise that.
頭に受けた傷は
I assisted the wound
初
to his
見だけ
head
では
was
判断
dangerous
が
to
危
the
険な
moment
の
I
です
saw it.
わかりましたわ
Got
かりま
it,
した
got it.
ちょいと
I
彼と
want
二
to have
人
a
で
little
話が
chat
したい
alone
んで
with
す
him for a
が
bit. Would you mind?
よろしいですかね
ええ、どうぞ。
Yeah.
何かありましたらお呼び
If
ください。
anything happens. Oshi, after basically forcing Dr. Irie outside, shut the door.
いかがですかお具合
How
は
are you feeling?
慣れないことをしたんで
Something I'm not used to do.
全身がボロボロで
So
す
I'm pretty banged up all over. Oshi brought over a folding chair that was leaning against the wall and sat down beside the bed.
犯人たちは逮捕されましたか
Were the perpetrators arrested?
残念ながら
Unfortunately, no.
とっくに県外へ逃げたか村人に囲まれているかの
Or
どちら
being
かでしょう
hidden by the
ね
villagers.
まあ
Well,
逃がしはしません
We
が
won't let them get away.
大臣の孫は
Well, but the minister's grandson.
署で保護しています
They're taking care of him at the station.
ただ東京
Your
のあなたの
colleagues
ご
from
同僚か
Tokyo are
ら
rather
一
insistent
切の聴取は
that
取るな
nothing
と
can be recorded.
よしげちゃんが憤慨してましたっけ
Sing Chang doesn't like that too much. The kidnapping was a confidential matter, so his custody was also probably being kept under wraps. How the kidnapping of the minister's grandson would be handled, how it would be covered up, treated like it never happened, would be handled by the brass. In this case, ended without being the nation. In this case, ended without the nation going into an uproar about it. Then our job had been done. The possibility that the minister had negotiated with the perpetrators couldn't be ruled out. But something like that was no longer my concern. My role in this case was
ご
over.
迷惑をおかけします
Sorry for the trouble.
公安ってやつはいやらし
You
いと
must
ころ
think
だ
that
っ
public
て
safety is a
思ってるで
rather
しょ
unseemly place, don't you?
思いません思いません
No.
お互
We
い
all work on the
日の丸
government's
から給
time.
金もらって仕事してるだけですよ
Oh, she laughed boastfully. When we first met, I was not prejudiciated against Oshi. But now that feeling was gone completely.
今回の事件
It would be
隠
more
さないで
convenient
大
for us
元に
if
して
this
くれた
case
方
was
が
handled
こっちは都
properly
合がいいんですけ
instead
ど
of being hidden
ね
away.
そうすれば
If that
黒幕
happened,
の
we would be
園
able
崎
to
本家
say
に少しは
something
迫れるん
to
です
the
が
Sazaki family. But if that happens, we would be able to have something to go at the Sanazaki family with, since they were behind it all.
まあ適当に迫ったところ
Well,
で
we just start
圧力がかかるんでしょうがね
We'll get all sorts of pressure put on us, though.
やれ
What
や
a
れで
mess.
す
大石さんは園
Are
崎
you
本
going to
家に
continue to
今
fight
後も
against the
戦いを
Sanazaki family after this?
まさか
Nah.
いろいろと
There's
黒
all
い
sorts
噂こ
of
そ絶え
dark
ませんが
rumors
ね
swirling around them.
園崎家に
It
恨み
doesn't
があ
like
る
I
わ
have
けじ
a
ゃありませ
personal
んの
grudge.
で君子危うきに
Maybe
近
why
寄
not
ら
to
ない
somebody
方がいいん
else
ですよね
Oh, she laughed happily. And I couldn't help but laugh along.
あそうだそうだ
Oh, that's right.
さっき県警か
There
ら署
was
に連
word
絡
at
が
the
あったそう
station
です
from the prefectural police.
あなたのご同僚が名古屋に到着
Your
したそう
colleagues
で
arrived at Nakio
今車で
and are
こちらへ
driving
向かっ
up
ている
here
そう
right
です
away.
あなたは名
You
誉
got
の
your
負傷
battle
ですから
scars. You're being
東京へ引
recalled
き
to
上げたそう
Tokyo,
ですよ
apparently.
そんなわけです
That's how it's shaking up.
はあお疲れ様でしたあなたの
You worked
沖宮での仕事は無事終了です
I was being recalled to Tokyo. I verily breathed a sigh of relief when I heard those words. I'm
大石さんの
deeply
ご協
thankful
力
for
に
your cooperation,
深く感謝します
Oshi-san.
あなたに支払った
It
協
seems
力
the
金は
cooperation
無
fee
駄
I
にはなり
paid
ません
you
でしたね
didn't go to waste.
あ
I
ら
can
冗
admit
談の
that's
つ
a
もりだったん
joke,
だけどな
Oh, she took out his wallet, casually pulled out several large bills, and jammed them into the breast pocket of my shirt.
これは協
This
力金
isn't
の
a
返
refund
済
on
じ
the
ゃないです
collaboration
よ。
fee, you hear?
私からあなたへ
This
のお
is just
小
me
遣いで
gifting
す。
you a little spending money.
この辺は地酒がう
The
まいん
booze
で
around here
ね。
is pretty good.
東京へのお土産に
So just
こい
buy
つで買
yourself
っ
a
てい
little
くといいでしょう。
souvenir. Oh, she flashed me a grin.
もしもあなたの傷が軽いようなら、東京へ帰る前にぜひ声をかけてくだ
Call
さ
me
い
before you
よ。
head back to Tokyo, will you?
おやつさんも佐藤さん
The
も
old man
ぜ
and
ひあなたと
Sato-san
もう
said
一度
they'd like to
タ
set
コ
a
を囲み
table
た
with
いと
you
言ってま
again.
したからね。
やれやれ。
Oh my.
参ったな。
Use that.
今度はこっちも小
And
細
no
工抜きで
tricks this
す。
time.
純粋に楽し
Some
もうじゃない
plain
です
old
か。
fun.
よく言いますよ。
They always say that.
原則の警官
This
があ
was
んなに
done
濃い
for
様がで
if
きるなん
an
て。
active officer
You're
can
almost
cheat
there.
that blatantly.
私ども
It's
とね、
not,
対等以
not
上に打
often
てる
that
メ
we
ンツには
meet
なかなかお
someone
会いできないもん
more
です
than a
。
match for us.
あなたが東京に帰る
Too
の
bad
も
you're
惜
going back
しい
to
ですよ。
When I heard those words, going back to Tokyo, Samoshi, I was reminded once again that I was relieved of my duties. Soon, Yuki would be giving birth. It might still be possible to attend the delivery that I had one time given up on. When I thought that the pain from my injuries became trivial, I wanted to hurry back to Tokyo and see Yuki at once.
少し傷が重いふりをし
Can
て
you pretend that your
沖
injuries are a
宮に
bit
しば
more
らく滞在
serious
しません？
and hang around Okimiya for a bit?
いいお店をいろ
I
いろ
can
紹介
introduce
し
you
ま
to
す
a
よ。
few nice places.
もちろん、
Of
お
course,
ごれなんて
I
言い
won't
ま
make
せ
you pay
ん。
for anything.
申し訳ないです
I'm
が、
terribly sorry.
それはまたの機
We'll
会
have
に
to
しま
take
す
a。rain check on that.
妻の出産日が
My
近いん
wife
でね。
is due to give birth any day now.
早く帰りたいんです。
I want to hurry back home.
ありゃりゃ。
Oh my, oh my.
あ、それは知らなかった。
I didn't know that.
それじゃあこんな
You
ところに
shouldn't
いちゃい
be
けない。
hanging around here.
早く帰
You
ら
have
ない
to
とい
hurry
け
back
ませ
home.
ん。
For a while after that, she asked all sorts of questions about my life, teasing and bantering with me.
さて、
Well then,
具合はどう
how
です
do you feel?
おきれいそうです
Thinking it
か？
up?
ええ、
Yeah,
おかげさまで
it's not so
悪くない
bad,
です。
thanks to you.
立って歩いても
I can
全
get
然
up
平
and
気で
walk,
すよ。
no problem. I stood up and shuffled around for a bit, which seemed to amuse Oshi.
いえいえ。
Nah,
ひなみ
I
沢
just
の
thought
病
you
院で
might
は落ち着かないでしょうと思い
feel
まして。
comfortable at a hospital in Hinamizawa.
入江の先生は一
But
晩
the
泊まら
Irie
せたい
one
みたいな
said
こと言って
he
ます
wanted
が
you to stay overnight.
犯人もまだ捕まって
But
ま
we
せ
still
ん
haven't
し
caught up the perpetrators.
一応ここは
For
あ
the
なた
time
にとって
being,
は
this
敵
is
地になりま
enemy
すから
territory
ね。
for you after all.
この病院は安全ではな
Are
い
you saying this
と
hospital
いう
is
ことです
safe?
か。
まあ
Well,
入江の
Dr.
先
Irie is
生も
somebody who
多
is
少
well
は社
regarded
会
in
的
the
信用のあ
community.
るお人です。ここにいる限りは
I don't
何
think
も
anything
ない
will,
とは思います
will
が
happen while you're
赤
here.
坂さんの気分的にメールないか
Well, I'm more worried about your mental
という方が問題ですね。
I had relaxed a bit when that I had relaxed a bit now that things had progressed this far. But it was exactly as Oji had said. When I realized that this was enemy territory, I suddenly felt uncomfortable. While leaving being the only thing left for me to do, the chance that I would come to harm was logically fairly low. But that didn't mean I was completely safe.
そうですね。
That's right.
横になっているだけな
I'm
ら
just going to be
ホ
lying
テルの
down
ベッド
here,
でも同
lying
じな気が
down.
します。
And doing it in a hotel bed won't be all that different.
そうでしょうそうでしょ
That's right, that's right.
う。私もその方が
I
いい
also
と思い
think
ま
that's
す
for。the best. At that moment, I caught a glimpse of the clock over Oshi's shoulder. It was evening. The hours when I could call Yuki at the hospital were almost over. And I wanted to tell her as quickly as possible that I would soon be back at her side.
ちょっと雪江の病院に電話してきます。
I want to call Yuki at the hospital.
ロビーに公衆電話と
Is
か
there a
はありま
public
せんか。
phone in the lobby?
新婚さん
You
は
knew
そう
it
いうの
was
まめ
all
だ
like
な。
this?
確か
If I
会
recall
計の脇
correctly,
にあっ
there
た
was
と思い
one
ま
by
す
the。register.
ここで待ってますから。
I'll
い
be
ってら
waiting
っしゃいいっ
here.
てらっしゃい
So。go ahead. Oshi, laughing while saying that he was jealous, opened up the window and pulled out a cigarette, even though he was in a hospital room. Apprehensive at how considerate Oshi was, I set out to the lobby to find the phone. The lobby was just a short distance down the hallway from the hospital room. I thought that this hospital was a bit too grand for a village like this, but of course it was nothing compared to the general hospital Yuki was admitted to. Running inside a hospital wasn't the best manners, but calling hours would end soon, so I dashed over in a hurry. There was nobody else in the lobby. It may have been the evening, but there was nobody at the reception desk. Well, this might actually be lucky for me. I wasn't planning to have a conversation to feel guilty about, but it would still be embarrassing to have someone listen to the conversation between me and Yuki. Taking a quick look around, I soon found the payphone. Digging around my pocket, I grabbed a few coins. I was calling Tokyo from here, so I would burn through this amount fairly quickly. I picked up the receiver, inserted a coin, then dialed the number of Yuki's hospital, which I had completely memorized at this point. The number for Yuki's hospital had a lot of 8s and 9s, so dialing it inevitably took some time. Normally, it wouldn't be a big deal, but currently, any time was precious. However, I felt that something was strange as I was dialing the number. I don't know exactly how to put it, but it was as if the receiver was too quiet. The unique white noise from the telephone line wasn't there. Somehow, I felt that I wasn't getting any feedback from the phone. Without feeling a response, I hung up the receiver to try again. The coin popped out of the return slot. I reinserted the coin and began dialing once again, but the receiver still was dead silent. What is this? Is it disconnected? While I was wasting time like this, the amount I had to spend talking with Yuki shrunk. I began to feel needlessly impatient. Excuse me. The presence of someone on the other side of the glass, so I called out. That was word jumble. Excuse me. I felt the presence of someone on the other side of the glass, so I called out. There was an immediate response, and a man who seemed like a pharmacist came over. Yes, how can I help you? Pardon me. This phone seems to be acting a little strange. Could you take a look at it? The man came over and tried testing various things with the receiver, pressed to his ear. Come to think of it, this was someone who worked at the hospital, not someone for the phone company. Just so I didn't know about phones. Just I didn't know much about phones. Neither would he. What's this? The man held up the cord that connected the phone to the wall. It was completely severed. What the heck is that? Oh, this is a dilly of a pickle.
これじゃ電話会社の人に直してもらわないとどうにもならないですね。電話でしたら事務室のを使います。
If you're looking for a phone, do you want to use the one in the office? I didn't want the people in the hospital office around while I was talking.
近所に公衆
Is
電話
there
はあり
another
ませんか？
payphone close by?
こ
Let's see.
こを出て道な
If
りに
you
行くと
leave
商店
here
街
and
に出ま
follow
す。
the road, you'll come out into the shopping district.
そこのどこかの
I think
角
there's a
の
smoke
タ
shop
バ
on
コ
the
屋に
corner
あっ
around
たような
there.
気。行けば見つけら
If
れ
you
ると
head
思いま
that
すよ。
way, you should be able to find one soon enough. I was dressed in a hospital gown. I was wearing sandals on my feet. My hand was wrapped in bandages. Just looking at me, you could tell that I was a hospital patient. No matter how you looked at it, I was not dressed to be wandering outside. But that's where the impotence of youth came in. Choosing the chance to talk to Yuki for even a little longer, I headed outside in my current state. Following the road to the shopping district, should be able to find soon enough. Only 2 lines was my guide. I ran outside the gate of the hospital. Keep going. Let's keep going for a little bit. The village nested in a valley, when the sun set, it got dark quickly. The sparse streetlights lit up enough to start attracting moths. The Higurashi, knowing the time for their chorus was soon at a close, redoubled their fragile cries. Actually, no, probably should stop here because if I want to make the next stream the last one for this story, for this chapter, it's going to take like it's not going to be very long. So let's just save it here. Save. Let's just close out the game. There we go. And they got this silly image back for some reason. I don't know why. Alright, let's go back here for a moment. But yeah, that was Higurashi. Hope you guys liked it. Anyone who just stayed in just for a second, maybe not, maybe up to you. Alright though. Thank you all for showing up. You know I always love you, but if you do. So tomorrow, I think tomorrow is something a little different. Let's check. Actually, no, it's Thursday. Oh. What was that? What's the noise? I think it's a chair. So, okay, tomorrow we're... No. Tomorrow we're going back to Outlast. Outlast! Yay! Outlast! Why did I put this on the list? Why? I mean, yeah, we're going back to Outlast. So, maybe we'll... Yes, why is the chair acting so weird and stupid? It's like this big budging. Whatever. Yeah. Yay, I'm gonna torture myself with Outlast, but that's fine. It's a fun game. It's an interesting game. I hate it. It makes me hate life. It makes me appreciate life. But no. Yeah, so we got Outlast. We got House on Haunted Hill for our Tuesday watch along. I'm still not exactly sure if I can do House on Haunted Hill because not sure if it's in public domain or not. I keep getting mixed things when I try looking up, so I might switch that title. Then on Wednesday we are starting the Blair Witch game. I cannot wait to it. It looks so cool. I remember watching it, a Let's Play with Markiplier when it first came out, but that was like a while ago, so I forgot most of the game. So hopefully it'll scare me. Then we're going back to Dead Space on Thursday, and then on Friday it's coming out, guys. It's coming out. Friday's coming out. Spider-Man, the only non-spooky game we're playing this entire month. Well, rest of the month. Yeah, we're all playing on Fridays, so we got two days of Spider-Man in October. Yeah, but I cannot wait, guys. Cannot wait. The game looks so amazing. The character designs are questionable. Like, if you've seen the discourse on Twitter, you can tell. Like, MJ looks so weird. How much they changed her. It's not even the design for the new design is ugly. It looks nothing like the old character. Like, the hair color's different, the facial structure's different. She looks nothing like her. It looks like MJ. Like, MJ's supposed to be in her like late 20s. The new MJ looks like she's in her early 40s and has been a mom for a minute. Like, it looks a completely different character. I think most of the characters' designs look ugly, to be honest. I mean, Norman is still kind of okay. Harry is alright just because he looked like Norman. Genki and Miles look fine. Mama Morales is she still got it. She still got it. Whoever does character designs, they said, no, we are not messing up Mama Morales. She has to look fine. Why am I simping for this character? I love her. I just love her design. But no, like I said, gonna head out. Thank you all for popping in, and I'll see you all tomorrow to fuck with my psyche. Alright guys, have a good night. Catch you all later. Bye bye.